Hi, everybody. Welcome to a poker coaching study session. This is studying cash games. We're going to look at Mike's hands.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so we got another 100 hand sample here. We'll go through and try to pick up on anything we see happen, any leaks you see, that sort of thing. So I'll just roll through these, and you guys stop if you see something that we should discuss.
All
So
right.
this is the start of a session. Here we go. All right. So we've got a couple of raises here. I think this one should be a pretty easy fold. All right,
Yep.
good.
And before you go on, one
Yeah.
question. People
Uh-huh.
out there, what is the first position that you are going to defend ace 10 offsuit in the big blind against? Against a normal size raise.
Let's see. I would probably defend maybe versus cutoff.
Okay. I'm going low jack.
Low jack should be a defend
Low
with
jack,
ace 10.
but not
I'm
before that.
I'm going cutoff.
Okay.
Let's take a look. Let's get that up and ready to go. So we can kind of answer these questions.
I'm going low jack and I am mixing I'm going like 33%. No, what am I going? I don't even I'm going low jack.
Yep, you were well on the money. I think maybe even under the gun might mix. Yep, under the gun, or I mean the low jack
Oh no,
next.
yeah, those are where it raises. We're in the big blind. We're saying when are we going to defend it? So
Oh,
low jack,
yeah,
yeah,
true. Yeah, you're right.
in the
Yep.
big blind.
Call. Let's check low jack first here.
Yeah,
Yeah, low jack does defend. You're right.
yep, and it defends heavy.
Yep.
Yep, and against one before, I think it's a mostly fold, but it's got a little bit of raising, but you can skip that.
Yeah, tiniest little bit of sliver
Tiny sliver of raising, but you can skip
free
it.
betting versus the low jack -1 here.
Right, and again,
And
exactly. Okay, good. And
and then
then my other question before you go on is this. This guy did something crazy. He raised up to 4 big blinds. So if it had folded to us from there, how do we want to defend against a 4 big blind raise from early position?
Full.
well, I think we're gonna fold a lot more
Yep.
to that 4 big blind raise. So for example, in your example, if we give him the low jack and he raises the 4 big blinds, I'm definitely just gonna fold there.
Right.
I
And this
think
guy,
you
oh yeah,
move
we
it
fold
up.
the ace 10, absolutely. But he was in first position, right?
Yeah.
Right. So he's first position 9-handed and he raises to 4. I'm sorry, second position.
And your
In this
question is what?
situation, what's our range for defending from the big blind against this craziness?
Good question.
Yeah.
So we can kind of roughly look at it if we go to preflop only ranges and do an RF5 3.
Of course, that's only going to be 6 max, so it'll come from the low jack
That's a good
as
point.
opposed to even earlier positions.
Right. So I'll start with poker coaching, which is at least a 3 big blind open from that. So raise of 3 big blinds, call by the second guy, and the big blind now is let me put a fold here. And I'll put this up for you real quick. There we go. We don't need that. So our raises, king, queen suited and queen, queen are the only, this is your value. These are your bluffs, I'm assuming. I'm assuming ace, queen suited is a bluff. You get re-raised, you have to fold it. And then ace 5 and 6-5 are your bluffs. And look at how thin your tail goes. Pocket pairs and only I'm going to say best suited connectors. And by that, I mean the lowest ones. 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7. None of the dominated ones.
So 10, 9, and 8, 7 are just folded
Out.
because
Yep.
you're afraid of being dominated by Jack 10, Ace 10, King 10.
You're dominated there, but you're also dominated in your straights. When you make a straight with 9, 10, you lose all your money to ace king, and they have ace king in range.
Mm.
I'm sorry, I said 9-10, I meant 8-9.
So you make
10-9.
such shitty straights.
Yeah.
You make the bottom end of the straight.
Make the bottom end, and here the bottom end of your straights are generally clean. Because 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they don't have a lot of 10 jack in those ranges.
That's very interesting. the
When
way
you
that-
make your second pair, it's clear, it's clean. Here, might not be here. You're,
Yep. But you assume
that kind of thing.
like your 4s and your 5s are clean outs.
Yeah. I think this is nonsense that you play a 9-7 and not a 9-8. I mean, I can make the argument that when you make your straight, no one else has it. You have fewer straights, but you make a straight that no one else has. 8, 10,
That's
jack.
really, I really have trouble with that stuff.
Yeah, they have to have
Wrapping
queen.
my brain around that. Like I
I-
can make up things, but
I
not that
don't
great.
I don't want to learn this here.
Yeah, I
It-
just
it-
throw that shit out. Yeah.
Right. But what I do want to learn is this. All of your suited connectors go down to this, and your suited gappers go away. Screw this nonsense here. But your ace, but these things still stay there.
Ace
That's
5, ace
the
4,
real
ace
aces
3.
there.
Shove
So he
ace
goes
5
to
in his
4.
face.
So he goes to 4. Let's lose the ace 3, but keep the ace 4. Let's lose the ace 6, 7, 8. The 5, 3. Let's lose all that, and maybe lose the 6, 7. But we don't fold everything. So there you go. All right.
Ace king is
Back
the
to the hand.
only unsuited thing that you're playing.
Ace king. Yep.
That's
Ace
it.
king.
I'm just gonna play ace king, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know if I would defend ace 10 off to a low jack 4x.
No. I think we've got that in. I think we've got that in. I think it goes away against a low jack 3x.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at that one for you while you go on.
I 3-bet it before I called.
Yeah.
And just for funsies to see what they're opening with 4x over there.
Yeah, good idea.
One hand sample, but that's probably pretty typical when they make it 4x as opposed to 3 or 2.5.
Yeah.
And this is not good.
Ace king,
9.
queens, and jacks. Ace king, not aces, and ace king, because they don't want to flop. Queens and jacks because they don't want to flop and they have the best hand. I think that might be the thought process.
All right, here we are in the small blind with 6, 7. So we get a raise up there. That's an easy fold there. Next hand. King 8, easy decisions.
Yep. So 3x, by the way, just a 3x open from the low jack, not even that guy who was low jack -2. Ace jack mixes folds.
Oh, we're talking the ace 10 hand.
Yeah, ace jacks mixes folds, no suited gappers until queen 10. You need Broadway suited gapper.
Okay. Good.
And that's 3. So even your suited connectors are shook at 4.
Even the single gapper suited connectors?
At 4, what I mean, I don't mean you're folding necessarily all of them, but they're shook. So 9-8 suited folds some of the time to 3, 8-7 folds some of the time to 3, 7-6, 6-5, 5-4 play. Put it up to 4, fold all the 8-7, all the 9-8, 7-6-5, maybe play 2 out of the 3 of them.
Yeah. Okay.
They made it expensive. The way to counter that is to have aces and kings. The other last thing I'm going to say about it is, I think against that early position and early position call, maybe you don't have any bluffing range in your big blind. Maybe you just play completely face up.
Yeah. Extremely linear, right? No,
Yeah. Maybe just don't bluff that ever. Because one of them has a hand that they're willing to continue with.
Yeah.
All right, going on.
Okay, so here we are. Should be an easy decision there. Easy decision. Moving on. Okay, another easy decision.
Yeah.
We might get to VPIP here. Okay, good. Standard, I
Yep.
think.
Absolutely. Never fold that.
And we do go to the flop. See how we go. Okay, pretty decent. We got it. It is a broken stack, however.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
good point.
let's see what hero does.
So do you bet all, do you, in game, not in theory, in game, do you bet all of your nut flushes again in here?
No,
Every kicker.
no, I don't think I do. I think maybe on this flop, I'm just kind of almost going to be using a big size even against this broken stack, and I probably will maybe sort of randomize a lot with the. I may check back the nut versions of the flush draws, maybe a
Can you
little bit
explain
more
why?
often.
Can you explain why I don't? I bet here all the time.
For as Jonathan Jaffe calls it, binkability. When you do make your flush, nobody expects you to have the nut flush.
Why? Like I'm betting here, like
Because you
all
didn't
the
bet it.
time.
He's saying when you check it, when you check back the nut flush, no one gives you credit for it.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Jaffe has another term. He calls it the check back monster. And his argument is that, it's protecting a checking range, essentially. But he argues that obviously this is not what people expect you to show up with if you do make the nuts. And so you're underrepresented.
I play in the most simple ABC way.
Yep. That's
Usually,
perfectly
I think
fine.
that-
If no one's going to catch on, that's probably the best way to play.
So
So,
I'm so it never occurs to me to try that.
yep. So here's the thought experiment, Derek, which is you start with a simplified version of Jonathan Little's flow chart from 10 years ago, which is on the flop, you bet your premiums and your draws, you check back your marginal made and your junk.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I'm like just barely one step above Harrington
Right.
on Hold'em.
Yeah. So you start with that and you go, great. This makes me hard to play against because when I bet, you don't know whether I'm betting premium or draws, and both of them are dangerous to you.
Right.
And when I check, you can't feel safe to just bluff me because I've got something marginal that I'm not folding,
Like,
immediately.
I assume I'm playing against level 0 players, right? They're
Right.
not even thinking about
Yeah.
what I have.
Right. So that's why I'm doing the thought experiment saying, so you start with that, and why that's good is it makes you hard to play against, and you've got nice ways to win. You've got the premium hand that you're betting, and you've got draws that can improve and that
Yep.
you can get there. Great. Fabulous. Then you're playing against somebody who studied Jonathan Little with you and knows your game.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, since you're betting all your premium hands and your draws on the flop, when you check, I know for sure you do not have a premium hand or a draw. So when the club comes in on the turn, I know for sure against you, you have no flush draws because you bet them all.
They're trying to do hand reading, or
Right.
they're doing hand reading
Against you. Therefore, I can get you off every hand whenever the flush comes in because you have 0 flush draws and your best hands there are marginally made. So if I bet the turn in the river after your check back, big, you're folding everything by the river, right? That's what you've told me.
Yep.
And I can now run you over.
Yep.
So when someone is playing, let's call that level, the thing about that's level 2 and they know your game.
Yep.
Of somebody you're playing against who knows your game and they're thinking level 2, they're thinking about your hand.
Yep. But I think that never happens at 1-3.
Right. Right. So you don't need to worry about this, but this is why we're saying it. So
Okay.
when that happens, you now have to adjust your game and you have to check back some flush draws sometimes.
So if I'm playing in 10-20 or whatever.
If you're playing 10-20 against the same
something like
guys
that.
all the time,
Yep.
it's got to be the same people because they've got to know your game for this league for this to matter.
Yep.
And so that's the thing we're learning about. And the solver knows this. The solver is playing because the solver has turned to you and said, here's my complete strategy. Now try and beat me. It's handed you its manual.
Yeah.
And so that's why my question is, and Mike said that he's sort of randomizing which ones he does here. Louis does, he bets the lowest ones, he bets the lowest of them, and he bets the top of them, and he checks back some of the middle ones. That's Louis's range construction there, I think. So moving on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like this big bet, although I think I probably chose like ace 4 as opposed to if I had ace 8, ace 7, ace 10. I
Mhm.
probably would be more likely to maybe check those, but as ace 4, kind of the lower end of the aces, I'm betting to, when he has ace X, a better ace X, I think it's going to be very difficult for him to defend. But I think players like this are defending pretty wide, and so almost any bet is going to be probably effective.
Yeah. So the other thing why I like this as a big bet is this board has no completed equity, but it has a world of draws. 4, 5, 7, 8,
Yeah.
5, 7,
I agree.
5, 8,
I could bet
4,
7
7.
here. And
Yeah.
and feel fine about
7,
it.
10, 8, 10, all just a world of open-ended double gutters and gutters with overs.
Yep.
So
could
I
bet
like the big
7
bet,
here?
and it's two-tone. So I like that big bet.
Just for fun, there it is, a7. Okay.
You fold a better ace. And his ace-7 is a bad call against your low jack raise in the first place.
Yeah, perfect example of like a broken stack here, just calling way too wide, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So again, I don't know if that bet is good or bad. It results wise, it was good, but
Mhm. I liked it.
Okay, another easy decision. Good. Ace 10 in under the gun +1.
Fold.
Under the gun, yeah, you're +1.
Might be, probably is a fold, I'm thinking.
Yep.
In the charts.
It's got a sliver in the chart. You don't need it,
Don't do it. Yeah, okay.
but it is there. Under the gun 1.
There it is.
There's
Okay.
your sliver.
All right, good. Definitely easy decision there. Should we go? Let's look at this real quick, just so we can see what this 4x is again.
Yeah, let's
just
see. And it's the same guy.
pattern. Okay, that's kind
No,
of
that's not the same guy. I think.
okay. 10-2, easy decision.
Yep.
Easy decision. 7-4. Right, we're not gonna
No,
play that.
nope.
Limper, King 8 should just be a fold.
I think
Good.
so.
Easy decision. Easy decision.
Right. And against that limper, we have not seen him limp enough to do anything other than Joey's thing, which is look at your hijack range and take the top half of your hijack range and raise it.
Yep.
So pretty tight against him at first until we see how serial a limper he is.
Okay.
Not easy.
Any thought of squeezing? 3-betting.
Yes, and then I would fold.
I just fold this.
I'd think about it and then I'd fold it.
Yeah, I think versus the early position 3x's like this, I think it's a fold, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Fold all day.
Yeah. And so these
Well,
are
in the cutoff, the king jack suited here raises. If you were in the cutoff and he raised, so you're against under the gun cutoff, king jack suited is a very frequent 3-bet. But you're now in the low jack, and so I expect it to go away. Let's look at that one real quick. Because this was
Yeah,
the week that I memorized that I learned the cutoff range.
And you're talking about a single raise pot as opposed to
Single
a
raise, and then
a
we'll
call.
see what happens when he calls. When he calls, I think you may even three bet a little more for the squeeze because of the dead money.
Yeah, we got all these people behind you still.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's just take a look.
I hate it.
Let's take a look at that one real quick. Yeah, just go to the oh, you want me to do it? I'll do it. Okay. There we go. Next time I'll let you do it, but I will do it. Here we go. Wrong program. All right. Change nine-handed. General, there we are.
Oh, you're looking for a single raise. I guess yes, I could have looked
I'm
at
gonna
that.
start with a single raise. Yeah, I'm going to start with a single raised version. And he went to 3, by the way. But at 2.5, since that's what we have. Okay. So this was under the gun, right?
Yep.
Under the gun. And in the cutoff, there's our response. King Jack is very prominent, right?
Yeah. And it's in prominent in all the positions beyond, like even under the gun +1, you're going to see it three betting.
Oh, okay. That's what I didn't know. Yeah. Oh, so yeah. So we got in your low jack. Okay, so now I changed my mind. I'm not folding this so quick. All right, let's take a look now.
Yeah, but
Where
it's that call. It's that call that kind
Now,
of.
that's what I'm going to see. Under the gun, and the call is under the gun 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here we were in the low jack. But there was a gap before us.
There was one hand before us. Yeah. So this is poker coaching is 8-handed. So
Oh, right. Okay. So
still there.
it's still there. It's a mix, but no calling. That's the thing to see here. Even though King Jack suited plays well in position and is suited, not enough to take a flop, and not enough to encourage the person back, someone back here to go for a big squeeze if they've got it in them.
Mhm.
All right, go back. Let me stop sharing.
So we'd go to 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
Into 3, 9, 12, 13 and a half ish, and then anything around there, anything around 13 and a half.
Nothing told me to squeeze these guys.
Yep.
I don't know. It's probably still okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Can we see what they're
Let's
playing
see
that
the
early?
let's just see the hands. Yay!
Hmm.
Second hand low from the aces.
See how it played out. This is kind of fun to see.
We lose some money. Yeah, maybe we get away from it now. Unless they both check to us and then we bet once. Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, easy decision. Easy decision.
Yep, there's a limp.
3's under the gun, +1 probably with this table
Fold.
Pop back and take a look at what he limped.
here.
We had the opening limp. Yeah, let's
Fold.
just see what his limping range includes. Jack 10. One of the limpier hands.
Folding 3s.
Folding 3s. You
Yeah,
got to, of course, you can raise 3s in any position. At a table where the 3-bet frequencies are low. And you can fold them in any position too.
Yeah, I think I just fold them pure.
Up till of course the button. The button they never
Oh,
fold.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
should
they
have
even cut
decision here. Yeah, okay, easy decision.
Yep.
Okay, still easy decision, even though we
Super
get
fold.
this kind of wacky play.
Yeah, even though it's wacky. You might have been forced to call that, or you might have thought about calling that in the big blind to that size and that nonsense. Or
In the
fold it.
big blind, yeah, that would have been.
Probably a better fold though. You probably need to at least be able to make a straight.
That's what they're doing at limp king jack, min raise ace-3 off. So
Right.
That's
And then
fun.
call queen jack off.
Okay, easy decision.
Yep.
All right, here's where I might expand queen 9 to the cutoff if I see tightness here, which is not crazy. There's not a lot of 3-betting going on. Tight button. This might make me raise this.
That's nice. So all you need
Yep.
is one person to be too tight.
So
to
you have the
expand.
effective button.
Exactly, kind of like the effective button when I see this.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
But the big blind is probably going to call.
That's
Like,
fine.
They've got 30 VPIP. But
That's fine.
neither of them will 3-bet you. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
in position against their overly wide range.
Yep. Play your effective button.
Yeah, not bad. That's fair.
Chose not to that time. Probably
Yep.
still
That's fine.
early.
Mm-hmm.
Easy decision.
Yep.
Easy decision.
Yeah, I believe there is no queen nine. There isn't even a sliver of queen nine on the chart in the cutoff.
Yeah,
There is a sliver of jack nine in the chart. So how bad can queen nine be given that button stat?
Yeah. We're
Perfectly
playing
fine.
the effective button. So
Yeah,
I'm
perfectly
totally fine with that.
skip it. Yeah, and queen nine is rock solid on the button.
Yep.
It's full frequency.
So this has been the same player making it 4x every time.
Yeah.
He seems to just be his standard.
Yep. But we still adjust, even if his range, even if he doesn't have a correct 4 big blind range, we still adjust to the size.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't play our even if he's playing his standard range, we don't play our standard range because we're overpaying for it.
Okay. Easy decision here.
Yep.
And we take it down. Good. Easy decision. Easy decision. Easy. And that was the end of that table. So I'm going to
Gotcha.
close it up. Go to the next. This was a probably a 3-table session, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Let's see here.
I have found since I started playing with a HUD that I should not be playing at 2 tables at the same time. I should be playing at 1 table. I find that I've lost the ability to pay attention to how they play while the HUD is remembering it for me, and I have 2 tables.
At least initially, I would imagine after some time they get used to it.
I might, yep, but that's what I've discovered about myself now, is I look at the table and I go, I have no intuition about any of the players here. You know, I don't remember anything about them. I just start looking at their HUD stats to get some information.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just playing hand by hand, and that is not an edge.
Huh. Can you bring
Or
up the poker tracker stats?
Yeah, I lost. I also got unlucky during that period, but I think, but while I got unlucky, and we looked at some of those hands, there was some bad play and some bad luck on, but I was aware that I didn't have notes on them. I normally have notes. I take little notes as I'm going, and just nobody had notes because I relied on the HUD.
Like, one thing that I found about writing the hands down is that I get significant trauma when I look at my hands and I see how bad I played when I analyze them.
Did you say you get significant trauma?
Yep.
Well, I look at the way I played and I go, oh my God, do I play so bad? I can't believe what a donkey I am. And I
That's
can't
good.
believe I'm
Trauma
winning.
trauma is the first step toward learning.
Exactly. So I guess seeing how bad I play is like a revelation. I think it was a good idea to have of Joyce to have me start writing the damn things down.
Good.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, hand review is just so important, I think. All right, so this is a new table. Here we go. It's been folded to the small blind, who then completed, and we are here with 4-2 off.
Right. So does anybody here have in mind what their ranges for the limp small blind are? Or are you just out in the wilderness when they limp to you?
Kind of out in the wilderness, but yeah, I definitely have an idea, and I'm weird. Like, it's hard for me to articulate a hand without actually seeing it. Like, I can't visualize a chart. It's just my brain is weird.
Like I have this chart in front of my face all the time where in the small blind you limp aces and kings and ace king.
Mhm.
In the small blind.
Yeah.
I guess
So
to support your the rest of your, like I showed you that poker tra- that poker chart that I have that's from the Jonathan Little site.
Yeah, yeah.
It says, limp ace king, aces and
Yep.
kings, just to support
Mhm.
all your other limps in the small blind. But I stopped following that chart because Joey said,
Because it was out of date. Yeah,
stop all that.
right. So
calling
this
in the-
overly complicated chart here is the one that this is my response to the limps, and this is straight out of GTO Wizard with a little bit of simplification. Green is call, red is 100% raise, purple is 75% raise, pink is 50%, and gray is 25%. This is not easy to memorize. But while memorizing this, here's the simplification I saw that would be very easy for other people to do if you want. So take your high broadways here, all your suited broadways, and do them 100%. So this triangle, that's easy, right?
Yep.
We all got that. Ace, king, and ace, queen, no problem.
Yep.
So that's 100%. Wow. Then just take your nines and your eights, 100%. Just do it,
Okay.
draw a line out there, nines and eights. Tens if you're in the mood. And then the majority of this region here is half. There's ace eight and king eight, but just ignore that and just go this swath here. I'll raise half the time. I'll call all of this to make up for it, just 100% of the time. This corner so you move those over there. You don't lose that much generality. So 50% raises here based on suit or mood. All calls here, all calls here, all raises here, and then right up here, 100% raises. Just that little part of it. That's not that bad, right? Raise, half, call, raise, everything else is a call.
So what does the green supposed to represent?
Green is a 100% call.
100% call.
Right.
I don't like 7-2 offsuit.
You mean 100% check behind?
I mean, you're checking behind. You were limped to.
Oh, so this is the
Can't
big
fold.
blind is what you're saying.
Right. When he limped.
Oh, okay, I was confused. I thought we were talking about the small blind. That's why I was.
No. Small
Okay,
blinds
now
are-
my brain was totally out of
We're not
it.
limping
Okay.
small blind. We're raising small blind 100% of the time when we raise it.
Yeah.
Raise or fold small blind. We don't need no small blind limps.
Okay.
GTO Wizard has them and we don't need them. Ask me about them again in 2 years.
Okay. So this is big
This is,
blind. That's
I
why
would respond to their
7
small
deuce is
blind limp.
green.
Because the thing you don't want to do is you don't want to miss all these crappy raises here. You don't want to be limping.
10-3
You
off.
don't want to be checking behind 100% of the time with your jack 4 and your jack 3 and your all this bad stuff. You need to raise some of this bad stuff some of the time.
So that's why we're raising Brunson.
Yep, because it's just in there. So draw, and you see this nice line. All this is 50%. All this is 100% call, 100% check. These are your 25s. So simplify and go, all right, 100% here, 50% here. And now you have a really simple picture you can use. All right. Or you can be a crazy person like me and try to learn the exact difference.
And here's a visualization of the GTO Wizard when you gets limped to, and it's very. I'm guessing you based your chart off of this because it's very similar.
This
It's
is the big.
100%.
This is
My
the big
chart,
blind.
my chart is this, although I don't have anything about the different sizings. I'm not dealing with the different sizings at all now. I'll do that. I'll do the sizings if I get limped to enough that's worth learning.
And I saw that whole region here. He's raising all the time. This region here, he's raising all the time. He's half and half down here, calling or checking behind always here. It was very similar.
Yep. And the thing that I did with the way I do it is I go and I get all the percents. I then do the closest to, is it closest to 50? Is it closest to 75? And then I go through and make sure that when I've made changes, are my overall frequencies correct, and are each of my regions correct? And I make adjustments for that. So that is, to make my chart from this takes about 2 hours. And then to memorize it takes the rest of your life. Okay. Having said that, 4 deuce, what region is that in? That we
That's
just
what
talked about?
of shit.
It's in the non-raising shitty region.
Yep.
10 deuce is in the shitty raising region, 4 deuce is in the non-shitty raising region. So check behind.
All right, so we see the flop, and we get an over bet.
We're done.
Easy decision, raise. Right? Okay, there we go.
Exactly.
All right,
And
we'll
we are
probably
rewarded
be
with a real
skipping
hand.
here. Here we go. We get a limp from the broken stack, a min raise from a broken stack, and ace queen suited in the small blind.
Raising 100% here.
Attack.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's anything we should be
We're
doing.
potting it here.
I think that 2 big blind raise is generally weaker than his normal raising range, not stronger. I don't think he's trying to keep the initial limper in with I don't think he has aces and is trying to keep the initial limper in very often. So when we see his hand, I expect this to be near the lower end of a ISO range.
Oh boy,
Now we have to hit something.
here we go. We got the call from both positions, and they basically have a pot-sized bet left over there on that broken stack.
Yeah. So we have to do that.
Oh, I think I remember bringing this hand up in one of our sessions last week, if I remember this hand.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I chose to check
I don't think that's bad.
because this is, well, I wasn't expecting little dinky bets like this, and then an over jam from that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Obviously
we
we're
discussed
calling.
this hand last week, I think, on our made hand or
Right.
marked hands.
Right. I completely disagree with the simplified Joey strategy here. I'm not saying Joey would say it in this situation, but Joey's thing is, in a multi-way pot, top pair, top kicker rarely wins when it's contested by 2 people. But this is totally different.
This
Yeah,
is
I
2
agree.
people with idiot stickers on their foreheads.
Yeah,
I'm thinking Vegas on the Mirage here.
I think you have the best hand here, and I think you happily call.
Yep. It's all
Yeah.
going in anyway. You're not
Without-
no way
without-
we're folding this.
no. Yeah.
If they have a set of 4s, good for them.
Yeah, great. He was near the bottom of it. The ace 4 was badly played in every possible way on every street at every moment.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, good. I wanted to go just to see what this guy was doing this with. Okay, he had 10s. He limped his 10s, and then he overbet this flop.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to see what he had there. So interesting that he showed up with 10s there.
Yeah.
What a
Okay.
horrible way to play 10s.
Oh
That's-
God, we're dealing with heads up play here. This could be
Against a tiny stack.
versus a tiny stack. I wonder if I stick around even.
I love playing heads up.
So in the poker coaching pre-flop chart, which has a lot of limping from the small blind, it's almost tournament level of limping in the small blind. 10s are mostly limped.
Which chart are you talking about?
The 8-handed no rake.
Yeah,
Where
it's
you
the
have
no rake
lots.
part.
Okay, so 10s are limp.
Lots, yeah. 10. This is a very defensive strategy that you don't need at all, Derek. You're allowed to play the strategy because you're playing in a timed game, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you
I'm
have
playing
no
no
rake.
rake.
You have no rake, and you have either no drop or do you have like a $1 drop for
Yeah, there's a
the
$1
bonus?
bad beat theft.
Yeah, $1. Yeah, I would call that $1 at 1-3 a rake, and I would not play this strategy. But you can, and we can't, because we're all playing at dropped games and raked games.
Okay.
So if you've decided to play a strategy that has a lot of limping in it. You'll see GTO Wizard barely limps the tens, and poker coaching limps them all the time.
So that thing that you just showed me, that was pre-flop from the small blind. Is
That
that
was
correct?
pre-flop for the small blind, GTO Wizard, 100 deep, with what rake structure? NL50?
It was 50. Yeah. This is not
Yeah.
what we're looking at is not this. This is chip EV. This is like a timed rake situation
Okay.
looking at right
Yeah.
now.
Right. So
I don't
yeah,
understand what that means. What does that mean? Timed rake, chip EV?
Scotty, you got it?
oh, you want me? I'll answer. Okay.
Yeah,
So
there's no
it's
rake
two different
taken.
things. He's saying that the rake in this game is a time. So there is no rake. This is zero
Okay,
rake.
okay. So
And
it's just
chip
like
EV means there are no payout implications. There's no tournament
okay.
implications. So just
So you're just trying to get
simple.
all the chips.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with this, yeah, tens limp, and it does it to protect the limping range so that you can profitably play hands like 10 deuce suited and 9 deuce suited, because otherwise people would run you over whenever you limped.
Yep. Aces is kind of
Yeah.
kings is just calling half the time.
Yeah, exactly. You get in there with a lot of limp raises. It's a very complicated strat, and it is not necessary to learn this to play good, solid, profitable poker. You can play a 3-better fold strategy from the small blind and do just fine in cash games. You probably shouldn't be doing that in a tournament. Although I don't know how much EV you actually give up in a tournament either. With it against the real world, not against the solver.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that in mind, he limps his tens, and he's limping them to get raised and to be re-raised. And in that chart that I showed, all the garbage that you raised, when you raise it against his tens, he re-raises you and you fold it. And sometimes you have the top of your range and you re-raise him back. Here we go. Heads up.
So I heard that in a tournament, if you have the button and the small blind, you can play all your hands.
Yes. You can play 100% of hands heads up if
So
you have a
so that-
limping strategy.
Yeah. So you could limp there with your crap.
You can
If you're
limp with
limping
crap,
it with aces a
protect
bit.
it with limping some of your best hands sometimes. You raise some of your crap. It's really complicated stuff. Heads up in tournaments.
We're obviously playing this.
And the people who studied it are so much better at it than you.
I agree. But
Probably
I
the
find
biggest,
I really love playing heads up.
yeah, the biggest edge is probably in poker, and no limit poker, is probably studied heads up versus non-studied heads up. Even if the non-studied heads up player is a decent poker player in general and knows, some poker theory, heads up is just so different than everything else you've done. And I have not studied it.
Me either. And that's why I'll often just sit out when it gets to heads up versus any player that has shown any kind of competency, because I know I don't study heads up.
Yep.
So there's a less than zero chance that the other player has studied heads up, and I know I'm going to be a dog in that game. So I just leave.
Oh,
Yep.
what
I would add one other
what
thing.
stakes
Oh,
are
go
you
on, Derek.
playing? That
This is 50 NL.
50 NL. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
And
I love playing heads up, and I'm play the 1 cent, 2 cent. So
right. That's a start.
probably a good place to learn it, I think.
Yeah. There's one other thing that I would add to your leaving thing. If the other player is at all competent poker player, maybe he studied heads up and you should leave. Even if the other player is a bad poker player, if they're bad and aggressive, you should leave,
Yep.
because aggressive is the most important thing heads up, and they've got at least that right.
Okay.
So since you haven't studied it, you need people to be bad and passive to want to play against
So I look for bad passive players to play heads
bad
up
passive
against.
players. Exactly.
If they're bad and passive, then stay around.
And you can then heads up is a lovely thing, even though you haven't studied it.
Now, I didn't have many hands, obviously, with against this guy. He's only 5 hands in here, but he is a broken stack. So I made an assumption that they're probably not that great, and I might be able to, get some heads up hand, get some heads up reps
I
in.
like it.
Yeah, the risk here is only like
Yeah.
tiny.
Yep.
What, $26 or
No, $13.
$13? You're risking $13 to get some heads up lessons.
I think it's great.
Yeah. So they check. We go for a third-ish.
This board might have some size up with the straight draws at the bottom end that he doesn't have very often, and the flush draw maybe, but the small size is certainly gonna be represented, I think. Okay, so get check raised. This is easy.
Raised.
You lose more money. You don't fold yet.
Yeah, the question is, are we just going to go broke with top pair?
Sure.
Not necessarily.
I'm
And by
fine with
broke,
that.
I mean to his stack, right?
But
13.
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Not necessarily. Let's say the heart comes in. And he jams. That's the last thing that the last bluff that you gave him is hearts here, right? You're not giving him the 3-4 particularly. And you're not going to depend on him having the 7-8. And the 6 comes in. So now the 7-8 is there.
Oh, I'm calling this all day.
You can. All right.
Oh.
Let's see. Yep.
Oh, two
I mean,
pair. I was wrong.
again, we don't want to be caught in results, right? Like
No.
he could show up here with king, queen of hearts, or
Yeah.
There's. Yes, I folded the correct hand to fold, but is that a bad fold? To basically a half pot, just over half pot.
Yeah. Not according to Joey. Joey wants to fold this on the flop or certainly on the turn to the big bet that they just don't.
I think he might have a different opinion heads up. I
Right.
mean, maybe not, but it definitely doesn't apply. Like if this was a full table and this action happens, like I think that's a different situation.
Yep.
But yeah, I wasn't sure about this. I mean, I'm glad I made the right fold, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, everybody here's okay with this?
Derek called on the river.
I would have called on the river and
Right.
been wrong. I would have lost more than you.
I folded on the river because the card was under my 8. So I was folding on the river to a heart. I was calling on the river to any ace. I was considering if it comes king, queen, jack, or 10, I'm considering calling. And if it comes below my 8, I'm folding. And here's why. His aces that I was beating, it's one more ace that I'm losing to. I was beating ace 3, ace 4, ace 6, and ace 7. Now I'm not beating ace 6 anymore. So that's when I folded.
Yep. I think my thought process was more along the lines of they're just not bluffing enough. Whereas I think in balance, like this probably is a call, like heads up. It's probably like correct to call. Probably folded just to population, not bluffing enough. But
Yes.
again, I don't know if that's true or not.
Yep.
So yeah, all right, good.
His 7-8 of hearts came in. Not that he
Yep.
has it necessarily.
Is there.
And we block 7-8. Like I think having an 8 there makes calling better.
Yep.
Or we don't block 7-8 of hearts.
Not of hearts,
No.
but
Right. And we don't, and did we block spades? I don't think we had the ace spades. So we didn't have either of the most relevant ones, as I think. No, we did have one of them. All right, moving on.
yeah. All right, so we got a player here. So 6, we got another player, another broken stack.
Yep.
There is a poster up there. I think A6 is still going to be a raise for me.
Oh, yeah. And you raised smaller than I would. I would go to 4.5.
Yep. Yeah, we've had this discussion
that's fine.
before. I will choose a little smaller out of position and in early position.
Okay.
You could argue this is starting to get into later position, which yeah, I could probably start sizing up. But yeah, I'll follow that GTO Wiz chart where, not chart, but sort of that pattern of early position gets the smaller raises, the later position get the bigger raises is what I've been going with.
I do the opposite. I bet more when I'm out of position.
Oh, he still bets more when he's out of position, but of the more. So Mike is still betting more out of position than in position in size. He's betting more often in position.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
But
now. Okay.
his
Okay.
out of position size when he is in early position absolute is smaller than mine. And I'm just going to say one thing and then let it go, which is this is, Mike, the latest position you can ever be in against a poster.
Yeah. Yeah,
It only looks early because of the
post
number
on the
of
button.
players and how they're spread out on the table. Now, going on.
Okay, then we get a little dinky raise from a broken stack.
Right. This has some tension to it.
Yeah.
His raise is so small that you should be calling it 100% of the time, but his stack is so small that the value of your ace-6 suited goes way down. But the guy behind you has a stack, and your call is going to get him to call,
What
and
would you
he's
do?
not raising you.
What would you do, Scotty?
Against this tension, I would put in the extra 3.5 big blinds and try not to show this to my friends. That's what I would do.
Larry, what do you think?
You're out of position. I think this sucks, but I think you just gotta put it in because you do have a full stack versus position one.
So we bet 23 is what you're saying?
No, I think not putting it in. Just call. See your
Okay.
flop.
Oh yeah, no, there's no, we're not
I thought
four
you were
betting.
thinking about going to 23.50.
No, Derek, here's why I'm voting against this. Me, doesn't mean I'm right. The guy you want to have ace-6 suited against is not the guy with $23. It's the guy with 96, and you're knocking out the guy with 96 when you re-raise. The guy with $23 probably has you dominated.
Yep.
Sometimes he doesn't. But when he has a pair, you still only have 25, 30% equity. You have the 30% equity there. He rarely has an ace worse than yours. When he has a pocket pair, it's usually bigger than a 6. And when he has when he's wrong about his re-raise and he's got king, queen, and you're ahead, you're never very ahead. So he's not the guy you want to go against with a hand that's in implied odds hands that can make the nut flush. You want somebody else in there who's got some chips. So that's why I think never.
Okay.
That's my argument.
I love that analysis. Everything you said there. I think that was great. And I know I take ace-6 and ace-7 and basically kind of just dump these almost all the time. Like ace-6 and ace-7 are just like the shit aces to me, like suited aces. And
Oh yeah.
So it won't surprise me if I fold this because it's specifically ace-6, but it also wouldn't surprise me to call here just because it's 3.5 big blinds.
I totally agree with you with your ace-6, ace-7 argument. Totally. But I think it's just dwarfed by the 3.5 big blind argument and the fact that P1 is statistically never going to squeeze you here.
Yeah.
He posted.
Flicked it in.
Yeah. Flip it in. Oh, he folded.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
Like what he calls pre and then folds. That's strange. All right.
Yeah.
So
In position with everything. Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah. It's not going to be too difficult, I don't think, to play now, right?
Oh, you just lose 7 big blinds.
Yeah. All right. We got to see what these knuckleheads are playing here.
Yeah.
There it is.
King 2.
Super premium discount.
Yep. That's why he did it.
No.
And yeah. Yeah.
Okay, easy decision. Easy decision. All right, we might get the VPIP. Oh, we do.
The pivot. All right, here's our king deuce offsuit caller.
Which we don't know. We didn't see his hand, so
No, we didn't.
we do know he posted, and we do know he folded. You know, in a hand. You know, who knows what he had, but
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What does the room say?
The room says that when betting, this is a big bet board when betting, and it is a not frequent board. That's what the room says. 6 and 8 are good for his range and bad for yours. And he has and there are lots and lots of straight draws to be there. And there's no flush draw.
Yeah, I think this
Right.
is a low frequency big bet board.
Yeah.
High frequency.
And I
Check
don't
with
see
your
why your hand
combo.
is and I don't see how your hand fits into a low frequency big bet. So I think you check it.
Yep. And then there's the argument versus, you know, that's the game theory optimal
Right?
play. I think once you start adding in a wider range for his defense, I think you can start betting more frequently and smaller.
Okay.
But
The
yeah,
wider his range is, the more it hits this board.
with less, what's the term? You know, he's got way more hands, but yes, he may have a 3 and a 6 more often than a good player would defend with, but he's also got a ton of crap, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Isn't his
you have a
crap-
good point. If I was gonna bet this, I would be 50.
Yeah.
Because
Isn't
I'm
his crap
ultimately
all
trying to
around
generate
not-
folds.
Isn't his crap all around hands that have at least an inside straight draw here?
Good.
Isn't the crap that gets added in 9-10 and 8-9 and 7-10, and isn't that the region
Yeah.
that he's got too much of?
Yep. I think so.
I mean, that guy particularly, but we'll see. Let's see what you do.
Yeah. I checked.
All right.
Like, and I think against wide ranges too, a hand like ace 10 is actually really like still a marginally made hand
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
against
If
wide
this goes
ranges.
to showdown, you win a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I think this is somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. How many hands do you have on this Joker?
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's our third hand, or
Yeah.
maybe fourth hand with him.
I
Yeah,
fold.
you just don't have any redraws. You're 2 overs. Kind of a shitty
Yeah.
spot. I mean, I would fold a lot here.
How about to a half pot? Still folding?
Yeah.
Not to a third of pot. So somewhere between a third and a half is my calling, is my call.
I would call more. I would call more against a half pot, but I would mix. I would not be a pure call here.
Okay.
I
I
would
don't know what I did.
I would lean towards calling to go half pot, I think.
Mhm. I don't think
I
it
chose-
matters.
Yeah.
Go on.
I chose to call, as you saw. That's all.
Well, the 4 is a good
And
card.
I'm sure I was torn. Like I'm sure I was like, yeah, big bet 66%. Yeah, gosh.
The 4 is a good card for you unless he bets huge.
Yeah, now that I got here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does bet huge.
Yeah. So fold and let's take a look. It feels 4 and 5-7 to me. Nope. Completely wrong. Good for him.
So yeah, I think that turn
That feels
was
very CFP training, right? He's attacking your check
Mhm.
with his semi-draw on turn, and then he's using a 2x pot is not a recreational sizing
yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
So this guy 717, let's watch him. He seems to be perhaps well trained. Oh, he did post though, didn't he?
Yeah, he
Posted and
posted.
he played the king too weird.
So yeah, I mean that's his sizing is also something we can. I don't know if his sizing is necessary. Um, because I don't know if risk reward is there.
It's sufficient.
I mean, he's attempting to generate folds from top
Yeah.
pair, I guess. Probably maybe like, yeah, top pair, I think.
I
Very
do
hard
like,
to call here.
I definitely like his bet on the turn.
By the way, I'm always curious, what are these percentage numbers in Poker Tracker next to the name?
No idea.
Oh, in poker, where I know all of them. Show me.
Where's this hero 45%?
That's what your equity of your hand against his hand is.
But
Since he knows his hand. Ace 10
that's-
against queen deuce, before the 4 comes. Oh, wait, but this is after the 4 comes.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is on river.
That's insane.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
Okay.
the numbers are.
I don't know either. I thought I knew. Because you should have 100% here.
Yeah.
Maybe go back, just go back one. Okay, once it goes, you raise. Let's just see how they go. 63, 30, 62, 38. So that is gonna be, and that's right. That's the correct percentage for ace deuce, versus a queen, ace 10 queen deuce. It's like 60-40. We know that. So that's close. Then you get the flop and you're way ahead. 72-28. The turn comes. Now it equalizes. That makes sense. He's got a straight draw and a flush draw. He's got, just to count outs, he's got 6, 15, and then 3 more. So he's got 18. 18 times 2 is 36, plus 2 is 38. So that's what this is. 61-39. Then the river comes. And if you'd gone one more click, that's what it was. It was in between. It hadn't gotten there. It showed you that you were 100% here. You're ahead of him. So
Okay,
yep,
I see.
they're the pot odds. It just was in the middle of a thought.
So
Well,
it shows equities if it knows the cards.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, and that 56-44 there is a moment of not existing. All right. Good for him.
Okay. Easy decision.
Yep.
Three's in the hijack.
Right. And you were on the button there
In what hand? The ace
in
10?
that last hand? That, I mean, yeah, you raised button. His
Yep.
queen deuce suited is against the button is a perfectly fine call. Perfectly fine. He can go down. Yeah. I think.
Folded
Queen
threes
deuce,
in hijack.
Hold on. Maybe it's queen 3.
Yeah, I mean, you could do either. Folding is fine, I think.
No, right. Yeah, queen deuce is fine. Queen deuce mixes, calls and raises 50-50. What I thought. Okay. Oh, you brought it up already. Good.
I'm gonna play Larry.
Yeah. Yep,
Larry's
Yeah.
the czar of the telestrator.
exactly.
Now, Larry, what do you do to clear?
Oh, so you're drawing in Zoom. So in Zoom, I think you've got to, it's like, you've got to open up the options menu and there's like an annotation choice or
Literally,
something.
the place where you got the button to do the annotation,
Uh-huh.
in there is around the bottom, it says clear annotations or clear comments, something like that.
Yeah.
A little button says that.
Yeah, no, there's nothing like that.
I used
Oh.
it once and it took me a while to figure it out how to get rid of it too.
Okay.
But you do it all the time and you clear it immediately.
Well, that's
Well,
within,
that's because I do this.
that's within,
That's how we clear it.
that's within GTO Wizard. Because within GTO Wizard, all you do is you hit B and then you hit B again.
Oh,
Get rid of it.
oh, there's an
Right.
annotation within GTO Wizard.
Oh.
Yeah, just like hit B right now. Just hit B and make a mark when you're in
Okay.
GTO Wizard.
Yeah. Okay. So you B.
Yeah.
Draw. Oh,
and you
yeah.
draw, and then you hit B again and it goes away.
Oh, okay. That's
So
our
easy.
new.
Why can't Zoom be like that?
Yeah, no.
So we had, what did we do here? Oh, we just folded threes and a hijack.
Sure.
I'm wondering, probably,
Mixes, I think.
I think cutoff is where I'll just raise all of it pretty much all the time. Hijack. Okay. Queen 10 low jack, queen 10 suited. I'll raise a
Go. Go.
Oh, well, this is interesting. So this is kind of, hmm, um, I kind of hate this hand in this situation, but I don't know what to, I mean, obviously this is not in the charts. I don't know.
I want to fold this in this situation. So against the single raise, I think it's a good fold. Then when the other guy comes in and gives you pot odds and you go, oh, I've got pot odds. I think the danger of his small stack means if he hits a pair, he's just jamming. So your ability to realize to make your straight or your flush, which is what you need straight flush or two pair to win this hand. You don't feel good about a queen and you don't feel good about a 10.
Yeah,
He
this is
may
a fold.
stop you from. So I think just get out.
We see what the stupid villain flatted behind with.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness. Oh, it's interesting flop too.
Yeah.
Oof. And he goes for it. He goes for it with his 9. You guys saw that, right? He jammed
Yeah.
a 9.
We
That's
did.
He jammed a
that's
9.
crazy.
I got pair.
Yes.
9-3 suited.
Yeah.
Looks
You know,
like
I wouldn't have hated his jam on the turn near as much if he hadn't hit the 9.
yeah, right. So there's a dead small blind, or not a dead small blind. There is no small blind.
Yeah. Makes this
Very
an
good
even
one.
fold.
And it's a bigger size.
Mhm.
So the one thing I've been thinking about in these situations is, do our aces go up in value because we have less reverse implied odds against a broken stack, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, ace
Um,
jack probably goes up relative to 5. You probably move some of your 5-4 equity into ace jack, but not into
yeah.
ace.
I think this is really cuspy.
Yeah.
I would fold against a full stack, but I think his broken stack makes it cuspy.
Hey, let's look. We now have broken stack charts. Open up your wizard. It's got not just 6 max, it's got different sizes now.
So you go to preflop only, right?
I don't think, nope, not even preflop only. Look at it.
Oh,
Right
it's
there.
cheers.
Look at the new tool. Look at the new tool. Now it's going to ignore the fact that there's no small blind.
Yeah. And we can't make it 3.
We can't make it 3, but even then, let's look.
Gonna check under preflop only. Still have 40 here. Here we can make it 3.
You're in
Alright.
he had a 30 big blind stack, right?
I thought it was more
Is
closer.
that wrong? I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I had the
just-
rote memory of a mole. Yeah, 40. Okay.
Now I have not started looking at this tool. I just saw this morning that it existed.
Nice catch.
Yeah, so we'll see what it does
where
to
was
our
it?
world.
So you're 30 big blinds, 40 big blinds, three big
And
blind
he's cut off.
RFI.
He's cut
In
off
the
and we
cut-
ignore the
let's say
fact that we're
cutoff.
missing. Yeah. And
Technically,
normally
yeah.
there would be a half a big blind more in there.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. Now
Just
put him,
for shits and
right.
giggles, let's look at the button.
Look at the shoving range. We got a sexy shoving range now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is
We have shoves. Shoves at 40.
sneaks in there when you use a big blind range.
Yeah. When he's on the button.
Yeah.
But he was legitimately in the cutoff, right? He just didn't have a small blind to worry about.
I
That's-
suppose, if you take away the half a big blind, it
Yeah.
falls into fold.
Yep. Fold.
Tough one. Weird.
Okay, so we did fold. Not Not that this matters, we'll just for our own enjoyment. Queen Jack.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. We got a limper on the button, King 6.
I like the fold.
Now,
I hate the situation. I like the fold.
Ace 9, easy decision.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
good. He's just,
I think you play this in position.
yeah, I think so too, right? I mean, we just can't fold. I mean, what are our pot odds? We're calling 3
25%.
to 1, 3, yeah, 3 to 1.
Yeah.
Like we can always realize 25% equity, can't we?
Well, technically,
position.
we have more than 25% equity against every hand in the deck except for ace ace. Ace ace is the only hand. Even our dominated hands, we have 25% equity against.
Yeah, good point.
But the problem is we don't know how to play them. Meaning
You're
we
right.
don't know if it's our ace that's good against his kings or our 9 that's good against his ace king.
So I have a question for you guys. Off the subject a little bit. So we are making a decision here based on our pot odds, which makes sense to me, right? We're
Mhm.
being offered 25% to this 3-bet. However, and we feel comfortable making decisions about pot odds versus equity, pot odds versus estimated equity on river. Yet, on occasion in our group, we've talked about how pot odds aren't as clear a decision-making factor on flop and turn, and that is something that I don't quite understand.
Because the odds that the machine is telling you, it says if his bet on the flop is all in and no more money goes in, these are your actual pot odds to get
Yeah, we're
there.
gonna fully realize our
That's
equity.
the correct thing, right? But there's equity realization issues, both about being in position and out of position, and how much does he bet on the next card? He can bet one big blind on the flop, and if you know that his next bet is going to be 100 big blinds, you
Okay.
can't, right?
So the argument is that we can
You're
make
only-
assumptions about villain's aggressiveness, which is gonna result in us under realizing our equity.
Right. But here, we know something. We're in position. He is going to underrealize his equity. If he underrealizes his equity, it all goes to us. That's where the equity goes.
Okay.
So basically, his bet is saying, I don't believe that you can realize 25% equity with your hand with your range against my hand. And
So
against
couldn't we
every
make
hand
this?
except pocket
Sorry, go
ace,
ahead, Scotty.
sorry, against against huge amounts of ranges, it's hard not to have 25% realizable equity in position if you
Agreed.
play it all well. So that's the argument why you have to call here. It gets reversed if you believe that he knows all this and he's offering you this only with a part of his range that you don't have 25% realizable equity, meaning aces. And I don't
So
believe aces.
so I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here. In that we're folding on flop with or we're not hearing to pot odds versus perceived equity as much as we are here on flop, because we have concerns about realizing our equity because of future aggression, correct?
Right. But we're not afraid of realizing our equity because we're in position.
Okay, so it's a positional
We were
issue.
out of
All right.
position. If we were out of position, we would underrealize the equity of our hand. He's going
Okay.
to underrealize the equity of his hand.
Okay.
So we're going to overrealize the equity of our hand.
Okay, well, let me ask.
Or-
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Scott.
Therefore, at this moment, not saying if we could get to the river for only this bet, at this moment, without a flop, we have more than 25% realizable equity against what I believe his range is, not against what his adjusted range is if he's thinking like we're talking.
So that's an argument for folding here out of position, which I think is fine. Okay.
Right.
All right.
And calling in position.
Okay.
But it's going to suck. But also, it's allowed to suck 3/4 of the time. It only has to not suck 1/4 of the time. All right. Sucks.
Now this is interesting.
Now, his-
Yeah, I mean, I think either is fine here. I think you benefit from betting and you benefit from checking. Either is fine. I mean, there's going to be like, I mean, who knows what is involved in. Well, this is the. Let's think about what this guy has done before, right? He This is the guy with aces.
and this is the guy with the queen deuce suited.
So
No, we never saw aces from him. He had
okay. All
queen
right, good
deuce
point.
suited and king two off, which we never saw.
Okay,
Right.
so we've not seen any showdowns with this guy.
No.
But we saw the big overbet.
We did. So we did see the big overbet. So the big overbet is an argument, I guess, for betting, isn't it? Because um he's more liable to well, we don't know what his hand was.
Nope.
I think we can go either way.
I almost feel like because of the big overbet, we should be checking a lot because he might be, I don't know. We're just putting him into a bucket that says he's going to be really aggressive a lot of the times. And
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
check raised off a hand right now that is probably
I-
not doing too poorly.
Here's what I think. I don't think that we can call ace high for, against his bluffs, because I think some of his bluffs beat us ace high. If we're going to win this hand, we're going to win it by hitting the board or aggression.
Maybe the way to play this is to check here and see what happens on turn. With
Sure.
plans to potentially bet on turn.
Yeah, if we're
And-
taking away all of his potential Broadway three bets, king, queen, jack, king 10, queen 10, a lot like I think there's still a lot of hands that a fishy player is going to like min three bet from the blind.
Okay,
If we're
I think a check is good and
gonna
then
win
see what
this-
else develops.
If we're going to win this hand with bluffs, it's not going to be a single bluff. We're going to be bluffing twice or three times.
Well, we anticipate he'll bet now.
Okay.
If he does. Tough spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to advance to hear the room.
Well, I think we know his propensity to, well, we don't know. I can't give you a good answer because I'm too influenced by seeing his cards before.
Yeah,
I'm folding.
right. I folded.
Right. And it is ace king.
Interesting.
His bluff is gonna, he's bluffing with the best hand. But I think we play this differently. Putting him on a range of ace king, ace jack, ace queen, king queen, king jack suited on this board, all those three bets. We get the right run out. We bluff three times, we win. And
I do give this guy a note at this point, and I hope this isn't influenced by seeing cards up, that he is a good candidate to miss c-bet trap, especially because you have position on him. So in the future, when I have 75 plus percent equity, and I'm out of position to him, he's a really good chuck raise candidate.
Right. Okay.
Okay, easy decision. Back to heads up. Jack
Heads
four
up
off.
versus the freak.
Yep. Technically, we have no folds and heads up, but blah. Oh, wait a minute. No, we have no folds and heads up with no drop, with no rake. In
Yeah.
tournament. It's the only time that's the only little bit of heads up that I've even.
We're
marginally called
RFIing
myself.
like 80% of hands here if
Yeah.
we're on button.
Does this fall into that 80% versus
No,
a
that's
min?
on what?
It does actually. This falls into a hand
Against
that we, well, that's RFI. You're defending big blind here. I think this is a fold.
I'd fold, even though he's gone to two.
To a min raise? Yeah.
Actually, you're supposed to call. I'm just looking at the ranges.
Are you?
With
Okay.
with a rake?
Yes, with right.
Okay, all right, good enough. And no ante.
With rake with no ante. Yeah, these are cash heads up
Okay.
ranges I'm looking at.
There you go.
Check. Do we
You-
hate? Do we
You
hate
have,
this?
you have deuces. You can have a deuce here that you didn't bet yet. He doesn't.
I mean, I'm just basically just saying, go ahead and take it.
Yeah, you said you don't care.
I think you bet. I think you bet on river.
The river.
Yeah.
And the flop. I mean, yeah, and flop or the river. I mean, the turn or the river.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think you need to bluff this.
I feel like I'm kind of starting to remember this session and this player. And I think I was basically just trying to make a hand against him and get a bunch of money in it, if I remember this.
Right.
But so I was choosing to be passive against him with just
Okay.
crap.
Okay.
I don't know if that's, that's probably not a good strategy. Okay, easy decision pre-flop, raising it.
Uh-huh.
He checks. I check. He checks. I bet. He raises.
Not much you can do.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do.
Let's see his hand. Nice hand, sir.
Yeah, this is definitely the player I'm thinking of because I remember having to fold a lot against this player and his aggression.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Scotty made a really good point before. Is you just exit
Yeah.
unless until we are the Jeremiah Williams of NL50 heads up. And by the way, if you ever watch Jeremiah Williams, he's gonna stream a little bit this summer during WSOP.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think you fold because he's aggressive, which means a lot of money gets in if you hit Jim.
Mhm.
Your gin is not ginny, is not super gin though. It's gin, but it's not.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
it's
That's a fair
water.
point. Ass
Yeah,
end
you're
and straight.
water here.
It's the shitty gut shot, right?
Yeah, it's a shitty gut shot with the heart dirt. But it's also one big blind. All right.
Oh,
I think there is only one right answer here.
Yeah. And I'm
Bluff.
afraid I'm not going to take it because I remember the session thinking, I'll just wait.
Bluff from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Let's see how terrible that was an idea. That was a good idea to bluff from the bottom up. You're bluffing with the best hand. If he made hero called you, you'd beat him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You folded. Okay. Right. This was the first time I've seen him make a 3 big blind raise.
Right.
Three bet.
Normally, yes, but with that 3 big blind change, I don't know what the right thing to do is. Hello, David. Welcome. So I don't know.
Yeah, me either. And I'm sure I considered 3 betting.
Yeah.
And again, I just feel like I was in a mode of
Yeah.
like ace 10's a pretty good hand here. Let's kind of see if we can get to show it down, make a hand, show it down against this particular player. Like I would 3 bet that probably,
Yeah.
almost pure versus anybody else.
And you would have 3 bet it here against his 2 big blind sizing if he hadn't gotten the different size.
Yes, definitely. If it was a standard 2, I would have 3 bet it, no doubt.
what about a
Yep.
check raise here?
Yeah,
You're straight, 3 to a flush and an overcard.
Yeah, I think a check raise here is good, especially
three-
against his
And his
propensity to bet.
But his size is big.
Okay.
All right.
size is big. The ace 10, again, I'm thinking it's kind of marginally, like it's still a decent hand against him because he's
Mhm.
been so aggressive.
Yeah, I think I like the check raise.
I do too. I like it now that you bring it up.
I wonder if we have a sizing tell.
Mhm. I mean, we're not.
Reasonable size for the flush comes in, so sizing down. That's reasonable. All right. I think there's only one thing to do here.
Do we lead?
No, God, no.
Okay.
We've got the fourth nuts. I think we checked.
We have to check call. We to check call any reasonable size bet. We have to, if he goes all in, we have to think about it. But anything up to pot, we just check call.
Yeah, so we checked and we do get to show down here because.
Yeah.
So we saw his 3 big blind raise.
Right, which is nice, that his 2 big blind raises are garbage.
Well, we don't know that
I don't
though.
know that, but his 3 big blind raises are raises, not monsters. We do know that. You've seen ace 4 and you go, okay. Little
Yeah.
tension going on in this hand right there to do that for that check back.
Mhm.
But I think it's the better of the choices. Now I think it's the worst choice.
No issues there.
Yeah. No issues. No issues.
A limp. Yeah, I remember a lot of hands just kind of just folding
Yep.
this call. Okay, see bet call. We continue. 60%, 66%.
There's nothing to be done here.
Yep. So a lot of folding, min raise, jack 3
What, you
off.
want to see what his hand was in the last one? To get an insight into what we didn't know during the game? All right.
Min raise, jack 3 off. He hasn't folded pre-flop yet.
No.
I think maybe he did once, but
And he's done very little. He's done a little limping, very little.
yeah.
His 2 big blind seems to be his limp. He's also hasn't folded. He hasn't folded to any of your raises.
Nope. Here we go.
You can certainly bet this small. You don't have to. You have showdown value, but you can.
But yeah, you can definitely see what my pattern of this is pretty unusual.
I like yeah, I would hear this guy at some frequency here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
What frequency
I would
would that?
really respect this guy's betting sizes. I'm just kidding. So, yeah, you're playing pretty passively for heads up.
Yeah. And
In this
each of
case,
these,
clearly it was the right choice, but
I'm not seeing the great non-passive choice to make each time. But yeah, boy, are we being put in the passive box. Boy, are we being, oh, yay, a little bit outplayed.
Yeah. So it's almost like, okay, well, when we have to 3-bet.
We have to 3-bet, but I think your size is unnecessary given,
Why, what would you go to?
I wouldn't go bigger than 8.
We're deeper.
I know we're
150
deeper.
big blinds deep.
That's true, we're deeper. But we've seen him using it without, even with the minimum stuff that actually got shown down. We know that and the fact that he uses a 2 big blind and a 3 big blind. His 2 big blind is weak, is his weaker stuff. But never mind, your size was perfect.
interesting flop.
Yeah.
I would bet small. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. And again, I remember this, and I'm pretty sure I just checked here, waiting for him to blast off.
Not the worst thing.
Yeah, agreed.
Great.
We
So,
got what we wanted,
yeah, you got what you wanted.
and we're out of position.
Yeah, so I, if he's blasted multiple streets, we've seen him blast multiple streets. I think I just call.
Yeah. If we do call, the only card that we're folding on, if we're folding on any card, is an offsuit 8 and an offsuit 9. And we hate to see we hate to see the board pair a jack or 10, but
Yeah,
but we're gritting our teeth on everything but an offsuit 8 and an offsuit 9.
yeah, we're gonna get sucked out on sometimes, but
Yeah. All right. 7 is good.
yeah, it's a good card.
Yep, not a card that I would be too worried about, I don't think.
All right, now it becomes the decision point, right? And I think generally solver is going to say check raise here. But I don't know if a human adjustment of just calling is better.
I don't see the value of a check raise here on this board, on this hand.
Yeah,
on
I think against what we know about this villain, this is calling is fine.
grit your teeth and call.
Yeah, and this is just staring us in the face right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's been like pretty clear. It's not like I just looked up and realized that it's been this whole,
Yeah,
the last 15 or so hands have just been.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got him where you want him.
Yep. Or not. One of the two. You do not know. And you will not know unless what the worst card in the deck.
You called it, Scott.
Oh. Oh.
We can't lead now, right? Like we just can't
No,
lead.
there's no reason to block. How big is his bet? All in.
Hmm.
I'm sick to my stomach.
Right? We were waiting for this exact situation, right? We were waiting to exploit this aggressiveness, and we just got a really shitty run out.
Oh, so bad.
But I don't think I just remember the situation and being like, well, I mean, this is where we were, this is what we got, this is what we wanted. We just hate the run out, but he's still just loaded with a bunch of crap, right?
He's the guy.
David says, break out the antacid.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And what does the room say?
Break out the antacid is what the room says. You have the
Indifferent
ace-
AF.
well, here's how you randomize. You do have the ace of diamonds.
Yep.
And you might have taken this line without the ace of diamonds. It was easier to take it with the ace of diamonds because you knew that you weren't afraid of another diamond. But if you had ace of hearts, ace of clubs, I don't think you play it particularly differently. So you fold the ace of hearts, ace of clubs, and you call with the ace of diamonds. And that's how you do it.
Yeah. And if it didn't have the ace of diamonds, I probably would not have checked the flop either.
Yeah. So if that's true, if you take this line without the ace of diamonds, if you only take this line with the ace of diamonds, then you have the ace of diamonds and have to call goes out the window.
Ace of diamonds should reduce your call frequency.
Yeah. But what I mean is this, Larry, the ace of diamonds doesn't change your call frequency if you only have this line with the ace of diamonds. If you bet the flop with all your other aces, then you can't use the ace of diamonds as a determining factor now.
Okay.
Right.
David is wondering like how was wondering about this villain, and because he came in on this hand, and just to recap the action, he has been extremely I wouldn't say, I mean, he's been appropriately aggressive for heads up, I think, and I've been very passive up to this point because number one, my hands have sucked. Number two, he's been aggressive and just, I don't know. I probably could have been more aggressive than I have been. I would have against normal people, but I did notice he was being very active and very aggressive, making large bets, over bets. We haven't seen too many hands. He showed down trips at one point where he was betting, but that's been the case for up to like probably 15 or so heads up hands. And then this is the action in the hand. He min raised, which was not out of normal for him. He was min raising the button. This is our first 3-bet, and he calls, and then we get this flop. I did check here, and he bet 3/4. We call, we get that turn. I check. He goes 3/4. We call. We get that river. I check. He jams.
And I made a mistake here, by the way, before. You do call more with the ace of diamonds, not call less
Right.
On the river or on the flop?
on river.
River.
Yeah, yeah. Ace of diamonds is a good card. 'Cause
Yeah,
he-
I mean, I generally think, I call against this. I mean,
called against.
I might be
called
a station.
every card. I called against every card in the deck except, the jack and the 10 I think about, and the 8 and the 9 was what I hated, and it came. So good. So yay. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, this was the determining factor for me, because I did what David said. I basically threw up in my mouth with that,
Right.
with this card. But this is what we were hoping for, exactly. So
Nice.
Right.
yeah. All right.
You called him down?
Yep.
Good. And that was the
Got him.
end. I assume he didn't reload.
He insta sat out.
Yep, that's what I
Hero
figured.
wins 317 big blinds.
Phew.
And that was the end of that
Table. Okay.
Oh, good call.
So
Okay.
David, what we're doing here is, we've been looking at, hand history, going through like that. So if either you or Skate have, just like anything in your hand history, we'll just grab, 50 or 100 random hands and just run through them and look at them. If you want to do it. Feel free, but until one of you says, yes, you want to do that, we'll continue with Mike.
I've got hands with the maniac. So we can let Mike finish.
Okay.
That
Just gotta
was,
grab them.
we were at 60 some hands at this point. If we want to, I'll do another 30 hands here, and then
And then Skate, if you've got something, prep it. And global. So global, it's links. Okay, well, we'll do some more hands after this, and so you can just choose what, if there's any hands you want to do, we can just do them we can look at some global hands. All right, going on with this.
so we'll go through again. We go quickly when there's no reason to, like, for example, here, we're going to probably just going to get raised and fold. So we'll just go on to the next hand.
Yep.
Okay, we get a king 10 small blind, going to be a raise for me 100%.
Yep.
And we get fold. Okay, good. So yeah, so David and Skate, as you guys know, we just go quickly through hands that don't VPIP. You stop. I'm going to go quickly, but you yell something out, type something in chat, say, hey, that should have been a call pre-flop. That should have been a fold, whatever. Just stop when you see something that you feel is out of the ordinary. Jack 7 cut off. Easy decisions. We just move on. We have easy decision. King 6 in the low jack. That'll be 100% raise for me here.
Yep. And if you care on the charts, it is 100% raise on the chart. King 5 and King 7 are 75%-ish on the chart. Not that it matters. Not the difference matters, but good. And when you get 3-bet, it is 100% fold.
Good.
What's the smallest, what's the worst suited king that you call the 3-bet with in this configuration?
Probably ace. I'm probably not calling any suited king. I don't know if I'd call king queen suited or not. There might be might mix king queen suited. What is
I'm going to predict that you do some play that you continue with a mix of raises and calls starting at king 10.
Yeah,
Where
my
the
king
king 10
10
is
here,
mostly folding. That's what I'm going to predict. So
Yeah,
open that chart up and then we'll go on.
I can tell you king 10 suited, I'd be 4-betting.
Okay.
King jack suited, I'm not sure if I would. I might go 50-50 on a king jack suited there.
Right. So after we answer this, I'll answer, we'll answer, David's, no, you heard right, David. It's a weird thing, and I'll talk to you about it why in a second.
Where were we? We were low jack.
Low jack versus hijack.
So low jack, we see king six. Yep, all the way down to king five.
Yep.
And hijack was the raise.
Yep. He went to 8 rather than 7.5, but that's not going to affect our discussion.
Low jack coming back to us.
Yep. There we go. Good.
Interesting. I would have taken this full and this at half.
Right. And so what it is at king 10, you're not good enough. King 10 is a 4-bet bluff. King jack suited is good enough to call
Good enough
and
to call.
raise sometimes. But if you get re-popped, you're folding your king jack probably also. Probably folding your king jack and your king queen. So technically they're high equity bluffs. Because 5-bet us. And I think we fold all the way down to the aces and kings and queens and everything else folds. Oh, no, go back to the game, not to the game, and go back to the wizard. Raise him,
Oh,
raise him to 20. And have him 5-bet us.
5-bet small.
5-bet us. Yep, just 5-bet, yeah. 5-bet to 33. And I think the king queen folds now. Yeah, tiny bit of call there. Okay. Great.
This has got a little bit of indifferent call to a balanced
Yeah.
5-bet.
Yeah. So you could fold that one and call the ace queen in real life.
Yeah.
Anything that folds, you could fold 100%.
Because we don't think population is doing this enough.
No.
This. There's not a whole lot here.
Yeah. There's 4. Okay. So now going back, open up any pre-flop one, and you're going to see. So the hijack is a perfect one. The question was, this is a question from David. Why do you have this weird thing here? Go to low jack. Just opening range. Why would you open king 5 and king 7 less than king 6? And this is something that you're going to see in the charts a lot, which is these non-smooth, non-linear things. And they come from interactions with the ranges to come. So, that may be overspecified, meaning that the solver may be getting these in a way that doesn't make sense in life. The ones that make a lot of sense are when you see that the ace 6 folds, but the ace 5 plays. And I assume that's when you understand, right? Why going back, to a re-raise. Yeah, exactly. You have the wheel, and so although you're behind ace 9, you can beat it, but ace 6, you don't get that extra wheel thing. So that comes in there. So that's easy. And then weird, complicated things happen with the other ones where they 3-bet when they 3-bet their ace 5 at you, but they don't 3-bet ace 6. So king 5, let's see if we can get this. King 5 blocks their bluff. So that would be an argument for betting king 5 more than king 6, right? What I just said? I'm always bad at this. Yeah. If they're going to, we would like to not be 3-bet when we have when we raise a low king. So since they 3-bet king 5 at us, whenever we have king 5, we're less than being block on the straight. But why this is king 6? I don't know. And I know that it is, and I know that we see these things commonly, like the queens, like in the hijack, you'll see queen 6 will raise and queen 7 will fold. Just the hijack opening range. You're going to see a real extreme version of that. Just we want to look at EVs are all 0. Yeah, leave strategy plus EV open when we do this. Go to the hijack open range there, Mike. And you're gonna see that queen 6 that comes in without a queen seven. You see it a lot in the defending things. So when the big blind defend, so for example, the cutoff will raise a king 10 suited before it raises a king jack suited. A three bet, I'm sorry, cutoff three bet. So choose like under the gun two raises. It goes away. Against hijack, it goes away. But yeah, go against one of those, and you'll see that the king 10 is more than the king jack. Huh? What? Why are those equal? Roll over those. Those can't be equal. I know this. Raise. Oh, we're looking at EV? Okay. Am I? How do? Oh, I know. Go one earlier. It'll be more pronounced. In the under the gun, it's going to be more pronounced. Under the gun raises. It's there, but you're not. It's hard to see visually. It's a small difference. There we go. Now you can see it. The king 10 more than the king jack, and the ace jack more than the ace 10. Yeah. So, and just so you know, if you ask ChatGPT poker questions, it will give you very convincing answers that are very often wrong, but they will be very convincing. All right. So my only good answer is the cheap answer. It's because of blockers. That's the meaningless out answer to it, but it does happen. And if you didn't do any of it except for the wheel aces, you probably aren't giving up that much EV. If you said, if I've got a choice between raising king 7, king 8, and king 9, screw this, I'm going to just raise king 9 and not king 7, you probably are not making a very bad decision. All right. King,
All right.
we like king.
Easy decision. We get a flat cutoff. And this flop. Okay. I know that being out of position is going to check often and or bet at,
Mhm.
at whatever frequency. I'm not sure what I chose here. I would guess that I'm going to probably c bet, or I may check. I do check.
The king of diamonds makes it an easier check.
Yep.
I would think the king of diamonds checks more than that. All right. That's not so big that we have to reduce our check raise frequency so much with this hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when I do check, it's in this situation, it's going to be to check raise often.
Good.
Which I do.
I like it.
Size
Big.
hot.
Yep. He's got two open-ended straight draws in range.
What did he fold?
Yep. And that's the end of that.
Thought you guys okay with the hot size?
Yeah. You went with a big one on a board that as I said, there existed two open-ended straight draws that he could have in range that he could call with. So great.
All right, easy decision.
Yeah.
Probably easy decision, right? We're not going to complete here, I don't think.
And I'm going to ask one question of David, which is, he says that he was looking at a chat bot that knows poker. ChatGPT is a large language model first, but he uses a specifically trained poker model for questions and takes it with a grain of thought. Where does the specifically trained poker model exist? And feel free to either turn on your mic or just type in the chat, whichever you want to answer. I'll read your chats. Going on, Mike, after we get an answer from David. We'll get an answer from David when we do.
King 9 button versus low jack 3x. I think I'm going to 3-bet this occasionally, but maybe not, more on the rare side. Fold here.
Let's see. I think it's common to the 2.5. Low jack raise, button, king 9. No, it's not common. It's there.
Oh, just a little.
5%. 20% raise to the 2.5. And
Okay.
I'll check it against the 3 while you go on.
Yeah, I'll bet 3 is considerably less.
Yeah, I'll check that. Here we go.
So is it called Chat GPT for poker? Is that what, or is it Deep Mind? I'm confused
know.
by the
Don't
chat.
have an answer yet. Okay. Oh, low jack, raise, button. All right. 19.8% and 9.2 are the raise and call for king nine against the low jack in the pre-flop model with 2.5. And in the pre-flop model with, oh, whoops, no, sorry, pre-flop only. I spoke too soon. In the pre-flop only model, there is no call, and it's 25.4. Then you push up to 3 big blinds, and it goes from 25.4 to 20. Yep, goes down. All right,
Thanks for checking.
no problem.
Went through a bunch of easy decision, pre-flop decisions. Here's your answer to your chat GPT-4. Scott.
Yeah, I see it. Oh, I'll read it out. If you pay for Chat GPT-4, you can get access to some specifically trained models. You can search this model for a poker model, and I've used it as a secondary tool, not as a primary tool. Because at a baseline, Chat GPT is a language model, so I understand its primary training for discussing. It's like getting advice from someone you don't know well, and their advice sounding good, and I'm going to add the answer, sounding really good. If it makes sense to me, I'll consider it, but it's been helpful nonetheless. The model's name on GPT Poker is Chat GPT-4 model. Is GPT Poker on the Chat GPT-4 model? Gotcha. Thank you. I asked
very
Chat
interesting.
I asked Chat GPT, probably GPT-3, the free one, just the simple question: what are the odds of there being a straight flush on the board? You know, of the board being a straight flush in Texas Hold'em. And it responded, it depends on the number of players dealt in.
No, it
Because of the
doesn't.
number of cards missing, and then it went on and gave some math. And not only is that completely untrue, it doesn't matter how many people are dealt in, and I don't think I need to explain why, right?
No, that's completely wrong.
Right, that's completely wrong. But the actual math it then gave of the odds of the cards coming was wrong. The numbers were wrong, even to the point where it said you know, if you take this divided by, you take this number divided by this, that the answer it gave was wrong. But it sounded so convincing, and I've got a degree in math, and it sounded so convincing that I went back and had to think, going, wait a minute, does it matter how many people are dealt in? I went, no, it could, and I had to spend like a couple minutes going, no, it doesn't matter, right? And once I got it, then I looked at the actual numbers. I went, and your division is wrong too. So ChatGPT, very comfortable, and yes, it's terrible at math, and it's going to take over the world. So moving on.
The fact that it gets math wrong tells me that it can't be trusted for anything.
Yeah, but that's easy to fix. They just didn't bother. Meaning getting it to do math right is easy, but you have to try to fix it. And the way that you train a large language model originally, was the original thing was, does this work at all? Does just predicting the next word sound convincing? And you go, oh, it sounds really convincing. And then you look at it and go, but it's wrong all the time. And before anybody fixed, but it's wrong all the time, other people said, let's use this for business and in real life. And you go, but it's wrong all the time. We don't care.
Well,
and now there's being work done on trying to get rid of hallucinations and training things on and using the language model for the language, but only giving answers from a database that is right, and various other things that I talked about last week when I sold computers for AI.
well, I'm signing up for Poker GPT.
Okay, never heard.
So let's see how it does.
Right. And David knows, and Derek, and David knows more about large language models than I do. I just know how to talk about them convincingly while doing a magic trick. All right.
You're kind of like Chat GPT-4 then.
I am very much
Except you're better at math.
I am very much like Chat GPT-4, as I can sound very, very convincing about things I know nothing about, which some people may have noticed on this site, on these videos. Okay, Ace-4 suited.
Ace-4 suited to a raise, early position raise, and a flat.
Never folded. sometimes raising. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
To
in the
the bigger
100%
size.
3-bet camp.
I know.
Yeah, this is a 3-bet candidate for sure.
Yep.
To the bigger size though, I think the bigger size and the broken stack tells me his range is going to be probably a little bit more skewed towards value.
Yeah.
So I
The
think I'm probably flat here, but
Yeah. The broken stack is not so broken that you're not getting pot odds. I mean, you'd rather have more chips, but he's still pretty deep.
yeah, and it skews me towards calling because of his skewed value range.
Yeah.
Does that sound
Yep.
legit?
Yeah, because you're not playing for your ace, and you know you're not playing for your ace.
Okay.
That was it. Yeah. The one I just looked at was at 3. And great. That's what you were playing for. Great.
Well,
Okay.
I do not see a good reason to check raise here.
Me either.
You have to just get there. You just have to get there. Hey, great.
we pick up equity.
Nobody's going to see the deuce. And you're not against 4-6. Great. Only 8.
Boo. He bet on the 3. Does that tell us anything?
No, he bet after the other guy checked.
Yeah. And we got a 3.
He bet his king. He can have king queen here and jack jack and play it like this
Yeah.
happily, but he can't have the heart draw to the ace,
No.
which is where the bluffs where a lot of the bluffs comes from. So you fold. Yep.
Now, could you have bet on the turn?
Could have, and you would have won the hand, but he wasn't he was folding 9s there, but he wasn't folding a queen. And at that moment, when you had the chance, you didn't know, because look back on the turn. You don't know which of these guys doesn't have a queen. When the first guy checks, you don't know he's checking to fold his ace king. He could be checking a queen there, like king queen.
Right? Because the action on the flop went, we check, half pot, call.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yes,
we
if you
can't really
raise,
lead. We can't really lead here, I don't think.
no, I don't think we want to.
Be an
I mean,
argument raising this bet.
Yep, but again, your ace king hasn't folded yet. You don't know that he's not protecting a queen.
Exactly.
I mean, probably isn't. And the size on the 9s doesn't feel very queen-like. Does it? The size on the 9, the size on the turn feels,
Tiny.
yeah, it feels jack jack and queen
Deuce.
and suited, queen jack suited. It doesn't feel like a confident queen,
It makes
but
sense that he has his 9s here, right?
yeah. But does it make, but do we want to check raise now? Because again, the 71.98, how capped is he? Would he ever play kings this way?
No.
Could maybe
Maybe.
make a population exploit and say that that population is not going to check their high end value,
Okay.
right? But like I think your typical 50 NL unstudied player, if they have ace queen, if they have king queen, if they have aces, kings, queens, they're just always going to bet them.
Right,
They're not going to
okay,
protect that range hardly at all.
right. So let's say that 71.98 has now said, I have Jack at best. That's what he has now announced with his check there. 89.88 has announced with his sizing that he has Jack at best. You want to check raise that?
Or take the equity they're offering, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like I said, the check raise would be a better exploit when you take into consideration player 2 up there, his check.
Yeah.
And the small bet. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta make those assumptions.
a lot has to go right. And when I said the player 2 was Jack at best, what I meant was he's Jack and Queen Jack at best. That's the top of his range for this size.
Yeah. So we're okay. We're okay there.
Yeah,
Little
we're just unhappy with life.
probably easy decision. Okay, king deuce on the button. Gonna be a raise if it got to us, but it didn't.
Yep, I didn't.
All right, we're gonna VPip here no matter what happens.
Yep, 3-bet him.
And we get a flat.
Ooh,
And here comes a broken stack. Okay, so he gets out of the way.
all right.
Okay. I think this was more of the equity I have here, I think against their range of just flatting is going to be pretty damn good.
You're really good here.
Check is just purely almost for deception.
Yeah. And
Yep.
do you need that on this board? He has a lot of draws on this board. He has a lot. He has a lot of Broadway, some suited, some offsuit here. And then he has whatever small pairs he chose to do this with. I think you don't need to check this.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not something.
But now but having taken this line, I think the next part is easy. I think you don't raise.
Right. Yeah, this is the unusual play here.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, or at least I don't. Yeah. I think this is a good bet. I think this is a better bet on the flop than a check. But having checked, I think this is not a raise.
I agree.
Yep. And I think this is a bet. And I bet this too large. I've been betting this 32, and that's too big. I should be
Probably
betting.
6.
I think a B60 or B75.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
I should be betting this 16 to 24, and I've been doing it 32.
I like that.
And if you get raised, you're gonna fold. Great.
Did we get 3 streets, do you think?
Yes. I do.
So flop,
I mean,
let's say
I think there's a sizing. I think there's a sizing he gives up on, but I think you get you ended up getting a total of 29 in there, right?
So I would probably bet a third here.
All
So
right. Bet a third.
So it'd be up to a pot of 30 now, if assuming he just calls.
Right.
He would probably check this 4, and I would probably go with a fairly larger size, probably at
Right.
least half pot,
Mm-hmm.
if not 75. Probably
Right.
really starting to polarize.
Right. And that already is bigger than the 2 streets you got.
And then the last bet would be all in.
Yeah.
If he
You might
checks,
fold.
maybe I don't. Do I bet king queen here all in?
Let's see.
Maybe I don't. Maybe I should.
10 king got there, which is in his range, and you block it. 8-10 got there, which is not particularly in his range. because it was a pure gut shot with no overs on the turn. So it's got to be 8-10 of clubs. That's one combo. You bet the river.
No,
So
I'm
you bet
saying if it had gotten here with me betting the flop and the turn, and we
Right.
get to here, and he's called both times, do
Right.
we still jam the river?
I don't know, because now there's only one queen you beat. It's only queen 10. Queen 9 now beats you. Queen Jack always beat you.
And Queen 10 is going to fold a lot to that, right?
Queen 8 isn't there. Or is underrepresented. Let's put it that way. And of course, yes, he can have Jack 10 here this whole time, but they do a lot of folding. Yeah, you might check back this river.
Yeah, so I think that's where my flop check came from. That I
Yeah.
don't know if I probably should get the money in now though, while as opposed to on these two streets.
Yeah, I mean, your bets are your bets bigger because you went 75 on the river. So yeah, it's the same amount of money in a different order. But that's also because of that specific river.
Yeah.
There are a lot of rivers that you bet no problem. Like the 4, you bet.
Mm-hmm.
A deuce, you bet. A king, you bet. A jack, you check. A queen, you bet and get called. So
Okay.
I think the bet's a sliver better. Open it. You're gonna do it. You know you want to. It's spades.
Yep. 6-5 of spades, I will do 100% of the time.
Yeah, go for it.
My randomization. Otherwise, I'd probably fold all the others.
Yeah.
We get called in 3 spots, flop bottom pair.
With a
I think
backdoor
it's a bluff now.
no flush and you're done.
Although this wouldn't be probably a bad board to C bet a lot of my range.
Yeah, I think we see bet king high boards a lot heads up. I think I vaguely recall that being the case in our multi-way studies as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I bet here.
Yeah, heads up for sure. But 3-way, I still think it probably applies, just not quite as frequent.
Yeah.
We're betting our bottom pair as a bluff, kind of.
Yep.
Is
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Yep. And I'm not. And in this situation, I'm happy to have not.
Oh, now that if we check and this happens, we fold.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
We
very
don't
happy.
want to bluff.
Interesting. I fold
Oh.
here.
Yeah, I'm surprised they called. This is probably a really bad call.
I
Yeah,
think
you could pick up
think-
a 6 you could pick up a 5, 6, or 7.
No, don't justify it. I don't think this is a good call.
No, it's a bad call.
I'd bet here before I called.
Yeah, that's a bad
Like
call.
I'd pot it here to, I don't know, like 15. Oh,
Wait a minute,
man.
you don't mean you would check raise. You mean you would have just bet out.
Yeah.
See
I
bet.
think-
You would have continuation bet.
I would think seriously about the pot size continuation bets here only because of our study with DTO where they didn't have any of those. So I would be reluctant to do that without having learned more or having a strong understanding of what the exploit against my pool is, which you do. You have a strong understanding of the exploits you want to play against your pool. So I wouldn't do it, and maybe you should.
I guess I'm betting it as a 5-out draw.
Yeah, that's what you're doing.
Kind of.
That's
That's what
what
I'm doing.
Yep.
So I'm betting it as a semi bluff.
Right. So let's turn over their cards and see how that would have worked out for you.
Well, let's continue. Let's
Oh
play the
wait,
hand.
I'm sorry, you called. The hand's not over.
Yeah, made a bad call.
Yep.
I agree.
All right, now the hand's over.
Now the hand's over, definitely.
Checks
Oh.
through. I can't bluff. Can
So
I?
guys with the king is not going to fold.
All right, we get to see their hands. What?
Wow. See,
See, my call was good, darn it.
your
No.
your call was great. You called it the best bottom pair with 6 kicker.
Oh, the bet would have been so lovely. All right. All
And I
hail
know
Derek.
that too. That board is not a bad board to go ahead and continuation bet
Yep.
I don't know.
as the pre-flop raiser.
Bottom pair with six kicker.
Yep.
Monster.
Monster. All right.
Check's a monster.
Right. I believe the answer is this time Derek's strategy would have been much better. I don't think that's true overall. Moving on. Ace queen.
I think
But-
that my strategy is awful lots of times.
Right.
So
However,
yeah.
you certainly get the points on that one. Yay.
So what do we know about villain now? So villain has got a wide range, right? His flatting
Yeah, we
range
saw that
is
queen. We
wide,
saw that queen jack.
and he's flooding again, and we know that he is going to stab with air.
Yeah. Let's check.
So
He
maybe
showed down the queen 10 too, right? Did he?
Queen
did he
jack.
Down the queen 10.
Oh, the other queen 10. Yeah.
that's a P2. You know, is a piece of shit.
But
You
you
get
decided not to. You decided not to do it this time. Okay.
Didn't. Yep. I almost was wondering if I should be starting to get value from this player as opposed to trying to get bluffs from him.
All right. Well, you got a call, so this is good. The jack is a bad card, but so what? Yep. You might not have gotten any bluffs from him, given that he had the 6. We don't know, but you might have.
Ooh, here we go. We might see something. Is this good enough?
This
No,
feels really cuspy once we have a 3.5 out of 5.
right.
How about
It-
knowing what we know about villains?
It doesn't matter. Against his wide range, we're still beat. He doesn't,
I'm talking implied odds, obviously, against players like that.
I think
I think
we're
I was
playing
just
too
looking
much
at the
implied odds.
multi-leg tables. I mean, if you have a flattened button, obviously we don't have a range for this, but you do get to mix calls here. So you are indifferent, but that's at 2.5.
Okay, so. If so, in the pure 3 chart, with this 3-way, this is 100% fold. In the GTO Wizard one, so GTO Wizard under the gun raising 6-handed, so slight change. But we knew that these suited gappers go away. Oh, good. We have calls that we can put in the right call.
Yep, not there.
Yeah. The suited gappers go away, and even the suited connectors are not happy. So now you go and you say, well, he's littered with a weaker range than he started with. I say, okay, maybe that argues for a suited connector, but not all the way to a suited gapper. But also the bad cards that he's playing there, we don't benefit from that much. We benefit when we have ace jack off suit against his range compared to the normal range there. Do you see my argument?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. So assume that he is littered with hands he should not be playing here. Queen 10, queen jack off from this position. He's got 1, 2, 3. He's low jack -1. Right. So his real range, you gotta get out of this mode to go to a 9-handed mode. Just for fun. Just to talk about him for a second. Right. So he's got queen jack and queen 10 that he shouldn't have, and he's got jack 10 all offsuit there. He's got ace 9 and king 9 that he shouldn't have, and king 10 all offsuit. That's why our response from the big blind against this raise, click on this raise and put us in the big blind. We're ignoring the second guy for a second, and we're ignoring the bigger size. This is why our hand now, the ace jack goes way up in value, and the king queen goes way up in value, and even the king jack is kind of good against that wider range. But
Yeah.
it doesn't help our suited connectors, because all those hands are the same as ace king to our suited connectors. Right?
Yeah, I'm following you.
Right. So his wider range doesn't doesn't add to the value of our suited connectors. They're the same. And his bigger opening size just trimmed out all the suited gappers.
Counterpoint, when we do call this, well, let's
Yes.
go back. I did fold. We're not playing it for top pair,
Right.
right? We're playing it for straights and flushes and trips and that
Right.
sort of
Right.
versus
And
a player who, may be a little too sticky and will give up or will not give up their over pairs and their top pairs.
okay. So that part of the argument is good. If he's going to be stickier than he should be, then, basically, if he's going to be even stickier than he would be with a tighter range, then they go up a little bit in value. He's only got 70 big blinds. They go a little bit down in value. The second player in makes our flush draws worse,
Yeah, right.
not our straight draws.
Okay, yeah, good.
Right. Now
Good
let's take a
analogy.
look.
I like
Let's
that.
take a look at that one thing here. Let's now go back to one of those charts and get a second player in and see what it does to our lower suited cards. See if it increases them or decreases them. This is at 2.5, right? So now take the guy out, and you'll see that we play him way more because we play him pure. So
Mhm.
that second guy knocks out a bunch of our suited connect gappers.
Yep, makes us considerably tighter.
Right. So both those things together argue against suited connectors and kick the teeth into suited gappers.
Against
Not-
opponents
there's
who
no
are
nines- not-
playing good ranges.
Yeah. But again, the good ranges thing is, with our particular hand, his bad cards are the same as his good cards. That's my, and maybe I'm off base on this because I'm saying it 3 times. But we have the same equity against queen 10 off as we have as ace king off, right? With 7-9 suited?
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe even less because queen 10
Yes.
interferes with your 9.
Yes. Okay. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Good fold.
We got a poster who then raises, easy decision.
Yep.
Easy decision.
I think, by the way, I think that poster's hand is weak
Yep.
because he raises to 2. So I'd like to just see if my read is right.
And he's a broken stack.
Yeah. I don't mean his play is weak, but I think his actual 2 cards are weak. Nope. I'm an idiot. Going on.
I find that happens a lot. Like people will slow play queens and jacks and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
Early position.
Yeah.
King 3 hijack.
And I fall into
hijack
that
doesn't
trap a
exist.
lot too.
King 3 cutoff. King 4 hijack is a quarter. King 3
Soon.
hijack is a fold.
Yep.
Do you want to, any reason you want to stretch here? Looking at your blinds?
Let's see if that would be a consideration.
Yeah.
You look at these.
V22, V19. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Not enough, right?
Nope. Especially with that 43, who we know how he plays.
So 7-8, there was a limper, short stack limper.
Yeah. You could certainly you could certainly VPip that. Derek's going to VPip that in his game, I assume. Right?
I can fold it too.
Okay.
I hate playing under the gun.
Okay.
But yeah, you raise it.
See this?
Yeah, I don't know that I want to, I don't know that I want to try to ISO with a suited connector against a broken stack. That small, it goes down in value. I just thought maybe limp behind.
Yeah, limping behind is fine too.
Yeah.
Okay. Something I definitely wouldn't consider this early in position. I would consider limping it behind on the button, maybe cut off, but
It's
I
better.
think I'm on team Mike here. I think this is a little bit early.
I don't disagree. It's certainly better on the button and the cutoff. So maybe the answer is you should consider it and then not do it.
6-5. Okay, that should be just a fold.
Hold.
Oh, here we go. We see this a lot. This
We
is
do.
what
This is
do
a
we
very
do with
tough
this?
situation. I'm never sure what to do.
Me either.
I've been folding this and I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, I always want to rationalize that we're drawing to the wheel, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm usually folding the best hand when I do it, and but it's a hand that isn't going to be able to defend itself.
Yeah.
Very hard to realize equity.
I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know I don't know what the right play is,
Yeah,
Deuce
folding
is
is fine.
and no solver is out there telling us.
right.
So
We miss you, crazy sixes.
do we feel like, it's so true. Do we feel like, we've got passive players behind us?
Good. Yeah,
Oh,
let's look at three. Let's
that's
look at
pretty-
bet
That's
percentages.
pretty passive. That seems like a good player. I'd probably open these too much. I'd probably open these twos too much here.
Yep.
Hijack, I think
2.5.
Did we see all zeros in the three bets? What were the three
Yeah.
bets? Read them out because I don't know your HUD that fast.
Yeah, all three bets were zero at
Open
Three.
it.
30 hands or so.
All
We
right.
are
Yeah,
clear to go.
it's very hard to have a good 3-bet frequency.
Yeah.
At this, for this sample size.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, you fold it
I
Yeah.
did. Yep.
in the hijack?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep.
It mixes. I mean, so in theory, it mixes, right? Mostly folds.
yeah. It's got raises there, and this is the thing where Jonathan Little said if your players aren't three betting enough, you can open every pair, every pair from every position, and by every position he might have meant only low jack, not nine-handed. He might not have meant under the gun nine-handed, but certainly low jack and certainly hijack can.
Yeah. I assume my players don't three bet enough.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
by default.
Yeah, so you can open it if they're not three betting.
Also, you're in a time
seeing the
game
flop.
without rake, and that changes your structures a lot.
Oh yeah.
But if
David's
the vast
asking
majority
about-
of time, if the vast majority of time that you open a pocket pair, you get to see the flop, you are probably going to get to play it profitably.
David's asking about why there is no solver telling us about like the ace three situation, and it's the limp to start is what kind of throws out. There's no solvers really that take into consideration limping ranges, like what those ranges are.
And you could do an analysis, and you could do a pretty good analysis in Pio if you did node locking. And you would node locked it, and then you put in the range that you got from mass data analysis of limping ranges. And we have decent data on limping ranges on Ignition, and I will show them to you. Give me a second here. All right, this is these live. I think these live in the poker thing. Poker, limp.
Larry, what is a CFP range, or what is a CFP?
Coaching for profit. So like Poker Detox, Brad Wilson's Wolves. They all
Yeah.
have kind of a coaching for profit model.
Here we go. All right, I got them open here. Zoom share. All right, so what we're seeing here, this is data processed by the all-powerful YOS based on my data. So this is 200,000 hands or so, 300,000 hands. And what we did was we went through my Ignition database where we get to see everyone's hands, and we looked at every open limp. So this is what they were actually open limping in each position. And what you'll see is, just so you know, This does not, when you see the 100%, this does not mean that Jack Queen was open limped 100% of the time it was had. This means that if you take all the hands that they open limped and then normalize them, the one that was the highest was Jack Queen, and we assigned that 100. So this is not 100%. This is 100 ducats. And so you'll see a very specific pattern here that they really do. We call it, and it's the R. So in the small blind, in the button, the R gets thicker. You'll see that R over here, middle position. You know, you see how it expands out. And then early position, that's it. You'll see the little tail. They limp small pairs. They limp, you know, they limp crappy Broadway, small pairs, offsuit aces, and suited aces, and low suited aces. That pattern is there the whole time. And then the small blind being the most limped, right? So knowing this, you could take this and plug it into a solver and say, given that these are their limping ranges, what are the optimal ranges to play against them? You know, by node locking. We don't know of anyone who has done that, and nobody has published it. Like no solver says, would you like to play against the general limped range? And therefore we use our poker logic and random arguments that may or may not be right to say what we want to do against limped ranges. And some of the conclusions we've come to is that against a limper, before you know much about his range, if you want to know, should you ISO against him, take your position, go back 2 positions, and then use the top half of that range. That's going to be ISO range. Once you find out they're limping a lot, you know, that this is a person who's VPIPing 40 to 60%, you go, screw that. I'm going to use either my full range 2 away, or if they're egregious, I'm going to use my full open range in my position and ignore your limp and just raise you bigger because your range is dog shit all the time. Those are sort of the 3 adjustments, levels of adjustment that we make against those limpers. But this is different. This is the small blind. So what crap that you wouldn't open, what do you call with here? And I don't know. How bad would it be to raise the top 3 quarters of your opening range from the small blind against a limper? How bad would that be? Let's see. Let's just do a small blind here, just a random small blind opening range here. Maybe. And then on the suited side, call everything that you feel like calling down here. I don't know. Should you guys want to raise 5-7 suited against a limper out of position? No. That's not fun. I'm gonna stop sharing. Are you guys still there? Or did I hit a
Yeah.
button?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
I'm
good.
here.
Yeah, I was doing a soliloquy. My questions weren't meant to be rhetorical. They're real questions.
I'm not so hot about 5-7 suited.
Yeah, but you're not folding it, right?
No, I think it's an overlap spot.
Yeah, that seems like a really good overlimp.
8-5 suited. Here we come.
Yeah,
Overlimping.
sure. Queen deuce, no.
Queen 5. I do Queen 5 all day overlimping.
Look at that ace. Look at that ace 3 off down there.
I know. That's what I was trimming these off because of the extra player. I don't know. I don't have a heuristic or an approach. I think this would be a really, really good question to talk to try to get an Ask Me Anything with Jonathan Little.
Do you want me
or-
to ask Poker GPT?
Yeah, do it.
Let me see what poker. Like I get 5 questions.
All right, do that one, and let's
So I'm gonna
let's
use
go
one
on.
of my 5 questions on this.
All right. Let's be convinced by something that speaks very convincingly and is wrong.
I just go back into it. I made an account.
Yes, and then to answer David's thing, yes, it's on a scale of 1 to 100. Which of these were limped the most by these people? giving the one limped most 100, and the fact that it has a percent after it, you should ignore. But the thing the part about that was easy is you can see just by the colors, you can go,
Okay.
this is the
Right.
region that's being limped.
Okay,
And you
so I'm
can
gonna
answer
write this
that.
question.
I'm going to let you do that on your own, Derek, and we're going to go on
What
with
range should I overlimp?
what range should I complete the small blind to an open limp? Try that. All right. Go on with it. Go on for a minute, Mike.
Okay. Yeah, here was that limp, by the way. This was that.
Yeah.
That limp, and that's our ace 3 over there. But
Yeah. We're way ahead, but there's nothing fun about playing it.
yeah, post flop, right?
Post flop, you're out of position to 2 players. And the thing we should always remember with this is being out of position sucks, and being out of position to 2 players doubly sucks. And when you limp, you guarantee you're going to be out of position to at least to the 2 players, unless the big blind raises, and that's bad too.
Yeah.
At best, you're out of position against 2 players.
Easy fold, small blind versus the early position raise.
Sure. Doesn't even have to be 3.5.
H2 easy decisions. And we're approaching that 100 hand.
Right.
King 9. Yeah, a little early for hijack King 9.
Yep. Hijack has no King 9.
Queen
It has
6
ace
yeah,
9
early.
and button, and cutoff has some King 9. Not a lot. Oh boy. Okay, so this is a good question. We're not folding. Does the secondary limper increase or decrease our raising range? I mean, our raising percentage for H7 suited. Write your answer in the chat, and then we're going to look it up. At 2.5 big blinds.
Increase is my
And then if you want to be really, if you want to go for real points, say the percentage it decreases or increases it. And when we do this, when you put in your percent, this is going to be an additive percent, meaning what's if it was 25 before, now it's 22, the answer is 3, not 3% of 25, which is 8. So I say decrease by 3.5%. I have not studied this. I'm not sandbagging you. All right. Everybody else got a guess in here?
yeah, and we're also gonna like assume that we're talking about full stacks, because this, I think,
Yes.
takes
Yes.
out your squeeze by a considerable bunch.
Yes. Yes. Full stacks. Full stacks, 100 big blinds, NL 50, these positions, 9-handed table, 2.5 opens, GTO, 3 bets, blah, blah, blah. All right. Anybody else is in there? Larry's, we got Mike, we got Larry. David, if you're here, take a position. And Derek, take a position. It's okay to be wrong.
Okay, I got a message from Poker GPT.
Okay. You'll read that to us in a second after we finish this game. Did you hear this game? Derek, here's the question. The cutoff raises, small blind
cutoff
calls.
raises.
Oh, sorry, button raises. No, cutoff raises.
Cutoff. You're right, cutoff.
Cutoff raises, button call, small blind calls, and you were in the big blind with 7-8 suited. The question is, we're assuming you do not fold. We're going to say you call some and you raise some. Do you raise more or less often than you would if there was no small blind call?
Well, that's actually a trick question for me, because Joy said just try raising everything.
Okay.
I don't have a calling range.
All right.
So for me, which is kind
They
of
were
a
both
special
100%.
case,
So you say it's equal.
they're both 100%. So
Okay.
yeah, they're the same.
All right.
But that's a
So
trick question. But
Derek
seriously,
is on equal.
seriously, of course there's extra people in it, so you have to play tighter.
Yeah. Okay. So
So that's the real answer.
5% globally, but less with 8-7 suited.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
wanted to clarify that I think globally our squeezing percentage is going to be higher.
I
But with
agree.
7-8 suited is not a hand that it's going to choose increase its 3-bet frequency.
I'd agree with that. Like 8 high doesn't
Oh, okay,
play
so
well.
what's your number for 7/8 suited? You're still not by 5%. What's your number? What's your prediction for 7/8 suited?
Less by shoot. I mean,
Okay, you're going
it's
on the
already a
left.
low squeeze percentage, so
All right.
I think it's going to be
All right.
less by like 2%.
I don't like using 7/8 suited for squeezing here because it plays so badly hot cold.
Okay,
Right?
so let's
If we go down, like it basically gets rid of all the things that are good about 7/8 suited. We're playing
Okay.
with basically 8 high, so I hate the squeeze here. So I'm just calling.
Okay, good enough. But you do know that against the cutoff alone, 7/8 suited is going to 3-bet out of the big blind.
Yeah, but against 2
25%?
players, yuck.
Yeah,
Hate it.
but against 2. So let's first see it in its normal and it's in its natural state without the small blind. Big blind, 7/8 suited, gets in there. How often? Very little. Get the number?
Tiny.
11%.
Yep.
Okay,
That looks about right.
right.
So I'd say with another person, it's even worse.
Let's see. So my
Yeah,
bet was it
okay.
goes down to 8%.
Yeah, I said like
I
less
said
than 2.
3.5. It goes from 11.6 to, so I'm guessing 8.1. Let's see what we get.
I'm gonna guess lower. We'll take the low range.
You're gonna go lower than 8.1.
Yeah. Yeah,
Larry
I'd go
says
even
it's,
lower.
Larry's going for 11.6.
I'm going to 5.
Okay,
We'll take 5.
let's go.
I'm going to 9, but this number here is going to
Is
go
gonna
up.
up. That number is gonna go up to like 14. Okay,
Yeah. maybe.
all right, let's see.
I hate that. I don't want to raise.
I'm ready. Small blind call. Big blind. 11. Nice. Not 14,
Look
but
at
it goes up
this.
to 11. Hugely up.
Big time.
Okay, I was totally wrong there.
Oh, so dramatically wrong. I like it. Okay, back to the hand.
Good exercise, Scotty. I like that.
That was good.
But yeah, this did go up. This globally, like you're going to squeeze more often, so to speak.
Yeah.
You're gonna raise more often than you 3-bet to a single raise.
Right. And I want to say something about the two numbers. Go back to, so do the fold. This is 11.7. And with the fold, it is 9.2. So when you look at that and you say to yourself, it's 2.5% more. That's not that much. I just want to remind us all, percents don't add. So it's not 2.5% more. You take all the hands you're raising, it's 2.5, it's 2.5% of 9.2. It's about 25% more.
Yeah.
So if you're raising 10 combos, now you're raising 12.5 combos. You're raising 121 combos. So it's 120, it's 121. The other one is going to be 150 combos. That's 30 more combos. That's a lot.
Hoi, hoi.
You see that?
Yep.
Because it's 2.5% of the total, but you're not playing the ace deuce, and you're not playing anything in this region, in the offsuit region. That you're ignoring that. So of the hands you're playing, there's a lot. Okay, I'm done speaking.
Good exercise. I like that.
And I like that David jumped in to give his answer after we knew the right answer and still went on the wrong side. That was honorable. All right. But it's still a majority, by the way. It's a majority call. It's 25%, 30% raise, something like that.
Well, I was the most wrong, so
Yeah.
I
All
get
right.
points for that.
You get points for most wrong.
Now
All
with
right.
this, with the broken stack in the small blind, I don't think we should ever squeeze 7-8. Honestly, I don't
I agree.
know.
It's just too easy for him to go fuck it.
Oh, nice flop.
There's that.
Now we have donking ranges heads up, right? This would be a very donkable flop and a very donkable hand.
Yep.
When it's heads up. How
Yep.
do we change our philosophy now that there's a broken stack in here and it's 3 ways instead of heads up?
So we start with the fact that we have no computer assistance for this, our group, because all the study we did of 3-way pots was none of them were the small blind calling. They were all a raise, a big blind, a raise, a button call, and a big blind call after that. So all of those heuristics are not valid. So now we just have to think about poker.
I think in the middle of the sandwich, you're just gonna check.
Okay, this hand can check raise, right?
You can, sure.
This can check raise. Because this hand can check raise, we know this hand can check.
This hand might be a very good check raise if we get a small C bet from a position player. Small blind folds. Sounds like a very good check raise to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, let's look at before we check, let's look at the stat on the cutoff and assume that he is not a studied player and just look at what is his C-bet frequency in general.
Seems
100%.
like pretty reggy stats.
He's a C-bet of 100. Let's check raise him.
Yeah, it's not a very big stat.
Only two
sample
hands.
size.
Two hands he's had
Two
the
hands? Okay,
opportunity
fine.
to see
All right,
that.
well, let's C-bet him anyway. Let's try to check raise anyway. And if we get another card is not the worst thing to happen to us.
It checked through.
All right. Oh, that's the worst thing that can happen to us. We're not folding.
No, not folding.
Nope. But we're not winning anymore. And we may not even get to see the turn, but we do. What a stupid size.
I would just call. Pay the man his money.
Hey, the man, his Miani. Mani. Of course. Oh well.
Okay.
Stupid game. Yep. Do you know the story about Rounders and John Malkovich? During that scene where you pay the man his Miani. At one point when the cameras are off, like they're waiting to set up a shot and he's doing that ridiculous accent, he leans into Matt Damon and he says, "I'm not a very good actor," is the story that I heard.
Oh, well, when John Malkovich says, "I'm not a very good actor," that's like God saying, "I don't know anything."
Yes, exactly.
I mean, like,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know the story. The only part of that story that I know is 100% true is that I was told it. That part I'm not lying about.
Well, like John Malkovich can say anything, right? And
Yes. All right, here we go.
you still think he's a good actor, right?
He's a good
He
actor.
can convincingly say, "I'm not a good
Exactly.
actor."
That's how
Being
good
a good actor. He's such a good actor that when he says, "I'm not a good actor," you believe him. Does that make sense? No,
Yes.
of course
The
not.
scenes in movies where an actor is required to play a bad actor and then get better on camera shows to me, at least when I see it, I go, wow, that person's a good actor.
I think John Malkovich
Yeah,
is
that
such a good
double
actor
thing
that I
is
don't
interesting.
think of him as an
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah.
Like I think Teddy KGB is
Yeah.
there, not John Malkovich.
There
know
you
what I
go.
mean?
That's perfect. That's the perfect thing.
I'm not a good actor.
All right, here we go. Okay.
All
King
right.
10.
King
Too
10
early.
off. One past the low jack. Too early,
Too early.
right?
Too early. Not even a sliver.
Easy decisions, easy decisions. We should probably, we're probably over the 100 hand mark here. Get to the last hand where we VPip maybe.
Yep, that's a perfect time.
Okay, that's
We're
it.
coming
Made
up on
our
it.
decision easy. Easy decision. That's same
Good
position.
fold.
Position. I think yeah.
Easy decision.
Yep.
Oh, wait, let's see what we got here. Oh,
We got
okay.
something hard here. I think that this is not a fold.
This is a weird one. Yeah.
Weird one. I don't think it's a fold.
It's a
Yeah.
raise all day.
Okay.
I
A
kind
raise
of
might be
like
better
a,
than a call.
I kind of like a, 5 big blind ISO here.
Yep.
Broken.
Five sounds perfect.
30
I was gonna
big
say
blind
4, but
stack.
5 works. Yeah.
5 is probably better. 5.5 in my world is but not against the smaller stacks. If you go 5, I think a 5 is probably better than a call. And I think both of those are probably better than a fold. And I don't know. and you folded. Good enough.
Maybe.
What do you limp? Not, I'm being results oriented only in that I want to learn about the range, not about the fact that you happen to hit the flop. Okay. So he wasn't folding.
And that's the last hand of that table. So that was it.
So he certainly can't continue, but there's a lot of boards he can't continue on.
GG, sir. So that
All
was
right.
clearly a winning hand. What's interesting to me is, over the 130 or so hands we looked, the whole session, as will often be the case, came down to a single hero call against an maniac.
Yeah.
And that was the profit from the entire session.
Yeah, you're right.
And that
I
was
mean,
big.
but that's pretty common in poker, right?
I
Yeah.
like to think that sessions don't exist. You play one session in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all one long game.
I totally ignore sessions.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to
Like-
look at it.
When I heard that Chris Reese or whatever his name is,
Chip Reese.
Chip Reese said that he only wins 54% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's 2:06 now. Do we want to be done or do we want to do any marked hands? If somebody's got a particular marked hand that they've got in mind, let's do it. And if not, we'll be done.
Yeah, I know Larry's got some, I really monopolized the time. We kind of,
No, that's no problem. It's better if that probably have it
That was
be
useful.
a single session.
We went down some good rabbit holes.
I really enjoy these sessions. Thanks a lot, guys.
Oh, I love
I
having-
learned so much from you guys.
Yes. So, to answer David, yes, we do these twice a week because we are crazy people. So we do Mondays from Pacific time, 11:15 to about 2:15, 2:30. And we do Tuesdays, Pacific time, 9:15 to about 12:30-ish, something like that. I post them on Discords and I also post replays. And if anybody wants to see it, if anybody watches this on YouTube, which for some reason, some people do, I don't know why. Smash that like and subscribe. But if you do and you want to join us, feel free. If you can't figure out how to get to our Discord, which I think is public and open, just go to the pokercoaching.com Discord. I think you can get in we post them there. But if you can't, just put a message in the comment on YouTube and I'll send you a link and you can join us and do this. I had a question for you guys. Let's do marked hands and then when we're done, my question was going to be
I've got a
about
quick one.
timing. Okay, yeah, do it.
I'll just
The
do one.
question's going to be, do we want to continue the schedule we're doing with these times, or is there a better time that's better? Which is redundant.
Should we
All right.
cover that first or go over the hand first?
No, we'll do this. We can do that offline. We don't need to do that on the recording.
Okay. So no reads on this on player. The player in question is in the button.
Mhm.
No reads. Puts in a large 3-bet, but I'm not folding this to this 4x imposition. Get a pretty good flop. We
Yeah.
check.
So
This is
do
really
you-
a sizing tell.
so you
on
don't
turn.
fold it, and I'm perfectly fine with you not folding it. Do you consider folding it though at all?
Yeah, I do.
I
Okay,
definitely consider
As long as you
folding it.
consider folding it, because to the bigger size, because that's got to count for something. All
I
right,
do. I do consider it.
not this time. Yep.
So we got top pair. He puts in a very large bet, but we don't get to fold with
Nope.
backdoor.
You have not lost enough money yet.
That's correct, sir. And here is where it gets interesting. So he did like a B75 on flop, right?
Yep.
Yeah, B75. Now he's good. We've got SPR of what, like 1.25,
Hmm.
1.5, and he down bets. So he went from a B75 to what is this? Almost a B30.
Yeah.
So my sizing tell is telling me this guy is not entirely thrilled with his hand and not entirely thrilled with his call. Obviously, straight's gotten there. We really shouldn't have king nine suited, but
So I agree. Sure, this could be, this could be the pocket eights that got there and is being cute now. Sure, it could be nine
Yeah.
queen or a set that's already there and is just inching in for it. Those could happen, but I think more often than not, I'm with you. This is an attempt to get to the showdown cheaply. What hands want to get to showdown cheaply here?
So I think oftentimes this is some kind of draw that perhaps he has, but he doesn't want to give up the betting lead.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that, this could very easily be like, I don't think it's often a better hand than this.
how
I
about
don't
ace?
think he's
10
going to use
suited?
this hand with ace jack, which is the most common
Right. How about
combo
ace?
here.
I think that you have the best hand here, and you should just shove it in.
I'm with Derek on this one here, and unlike the bluff situation, I mean, well, here's the other thing. You should either shove it in now, or you should call this and shove a lot of rivers and not let him get a free card, because I don't think he's in the mood to bluff the river.
I'm shoving it right now. I'm not.
So we
Yeah.
mind melded and I
Mm,
shoved it.
Yeah,
yeah,
So
I'm
the
a
result
little
sucks.
nuts.
He hits his gut shot, but I just want to confirm that you guys like to shove here.
Oh,
I'm not so much on team shove
Okay.
okay.
because
Yeah.
I almost feel like this is kind of polarizing. Like he's got like a super strong hand that he could give two shits worth whether you call or not,
Like a
or
set of tens or
or
something like that.
or a draw. I feel like this is kind of like your king jack is gonna run into the nuts a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
That
So
time-
I mean,
at
some
that time
people
being
are
a
going to down
very
bet.
high equity hand.
So some people might down bet with like, well, what's he going to down bet with? He's going to down bet with maybe turned eights as a trap.
Jacks, tens.
Well, there's only one
I don't
combo of
think he
jacks, but yeah, maybe. I can see your point.
Yeah, tens.
I am. Yeah, Mike, this might be polarizing. I think this tends towards more the weaker part of his range.
Yeah,
Because
I
of
agree.
the
Not
sizing.
that the other ones, yeah, not that the other ones never exist, but I think that this is overrepresenting hands that want to get to showdown cheap and don't want to face a big and don't want to face the size bet that you might do with a bluff if he checks.
Yeah.
And it doesn't represent a lot of sets because of the nines that Cash can have in his range.
Yeah, I think this is just a lot of times this is
Yeah.
kind of he's betting his equity here. And or he's got a draw and does not want to give up
Yeah.
the betting lead.
You know what? You're right, because we're not in position, so we can't, like, I guess we want, when he does have the bluffs, he's going to check back a lot too. So he's not
Right.
going to just
Yeah.
open jam, he doesn't have the opportunity to jam his bluffs. So yeah, I walk back my thought there.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I just feel like this gives us an opportunity to get value from draws, which we did this
Right.
this time, and he called with his pair plus draw. So we're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we're like 82% here. So we got to be an 80-20 and
This
he
is
just sucked
great.
out. But the point regardless of result, the decision point I wanted to talk about was the turn. And if you guys felt that was spewy or if it was an appropriate check shove.
Oh no, I think it's the right play.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I think it's reading what he's doing properly.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I like it. All the logic, I agree with the assumptions that went into it, and we were right. We didn't say queen jack, but queen jack fits right in there. Queen jack, nine jack, maybe. Ace jack, probably not, because with that jack, he's happy. And ace 10. Queen jack and ace 10 are the equivalent kinds of hands.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, but I don't think the ace jack is highly represented in that world, unless he also has the spades, and that would, even then, I think he bets big.
Yeah, I think ace jack oftentimes, and I don't know if I'm projecting what I would do, are going to bet bigger on turn and check back a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of
jam,
rivers.
or they're going to jam turn against your flush drawn straight draws that you have.
Yeah. Are they just going to show?
High. So all those make sense, but the question is, which against that range of hands, which is the better play by you? To check bet shove, or to check bet call and shove rivers that aren't spades and don't complete a lot of straights.
And donk shove river.
Yeah, donk shove river into his marginal hand that he's going to check behind.
Well, I think, my argument would be that he, at some frequency, probably more than, we have to look at the pot odds, but, I think he's got compelling odds to call with his draws, which is the case that we saw before in this hand.
And therefore you
He
get
had
them.
pair plus draw. He knew he probably wasn't ahead, but he felt compelled to call because he had a gut shot.
Right. And you kept him from doing what he wanted to do. And that's probably always a good idea.
Well, that's a good argument. Yeah.
He wanted a card for 18 and you charged him all of his chips.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I think that what's driving our ability to do that in that situation is a sizing towel.
All right. So here we go. We're going to end with that hand and we're going to look at this. I'm going to share the screen here.
Oh, by the way, Poker GPT is garbage. I
Yes, but
posted what they have, so.
But that's what I'm doing. Here we go. And so this is going to be a video, and then stay on you guys for a second just to talk about times. When playing from the small blind in a limp pot with 100 big blinds effective stack and no rake, your over-limping rate can be significantly wider than it would be if you were facing a raise or playing with a large rake. Those things are true. Without rake, you don't need to be concerned about the immediate loss from the small blind's investment, as any pot you win will not have that overhead cost. That is true. Here's a general idea of the range you might overlimp with from the small blind in this scenario. Small pairs. All small pairs can be overlimped. That's true. Suited gappers, suited connectors, and one gappers. These hands benefit from being in multi-way pots due to their flush and straight potential. They can win big pots when they hit the right flop. That's true. Suited aces and kings. Even with weak kickers, they have flush potential. When the ace or king hits the board, you have top pair with a decent kicker. Okay, this is missing a very important thing, which is, how are we talking small suited aces and kings or big? Big ones you should be ISOing. You shouldn't be. And I mean, ace 10 suited, ace 9 suited, you should just be ISOing. So there might be some truth here with your ace deuce and ace 3 and ace 4, but those also, since they bluff from the small blind against raises, shouldn't they bluff against small blind against the weaker limped range? Yes. So maybe this is only true of king 6, king 7, king 8, ace 6, ace 7, ace 8, maybe. Suited broadways have good straight and flush potential. Suited Broadway should be raised. Offsuit broadways. Be more selective offsuit hands, but hands like king, queen still have decent value in a limp pot. These should be raised. Selected offsuit aces. Depending on the passivity of the table, limping behind with weaker aces such as ace 9 might be profitable through their hard card strength. This is not true. Because you're out of position. And these play badly out of position against two players. I think this is not true. I don't know. This is where our question is. Suited gappers and some suited 3 gappers. Sure. And then the rest of it is nonsense. That's what I think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was like ridiculous, egregiously bad. I think
No. But it's awfully convincing, isn't it?
It is.
If you didn't have an opinion going in, it'd be very easy to take this as your opinion. I think that my contradictions to this are 3% better than this answer. I'm still
Okay.
wrong. I'm still wrong on a lot of it, but I think I'm 3% or more accurate to the right answer than this.
Yeah.
And therefore, if this answer is only 6% right, that means I'm 50% better than this. All right.
What's your schedule next week, Scotty?
Okay. So, oh, I didn't mean to stop sharing. I meant to stop recording. Thanks, everybody. We're going to stop recording.